GamedayMensHealth.com.
High school.
United Mechanical at 502-339-1133.
All right. Welcome in, everybody. It is Monday, May 11th. Happy National Eat What You Want Day to all who celebrate. This is the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, We're coming to you live from the world-famous University of Louisville College of Business Studios here in the heart of picture-perfect Louisville, Kentucky. Cards fans, you can take your career to heights with an MBA from the University of Louisville. The full-time MBA is an innovative 12-month program that accelerates your career trajectory with convenient in-person evening classes. Competitive 11-month paid internship opportunities provide you with valuable industry experience. It's the MBA that pays. Get started today, and you could earn your degree in just 1 year. The first step is hopping online and visiting business.louisville.edu. We're on the air today from 2:34 until 5:30 here on 1450 AM, 96.1 FM, streaming across the land, including on the Big X Sports Radio Louisville YouTube channel, airing live on WBNA Channel 21. You know, it's better as the Big X. It's Mike Rutherford, Matt Childress here on a Monday edition of the show. I don't even know if we refer to this as the offseason. We're not quite at the dead period just yet, but the days do feel a little bit more dead from a sports perspective. But we still have things to talk about. We've got a softball team that's dancing into the NCAA tournament. We got a baseball team that continues to produce runs at a record rate while still somehow finding ways to not win games. We've got, NBA playoffs rolling on. Donovan Mitchell exacts a little bit of revenge yesterday. Basically keeps his team alive in the series against the Pistons. We can talk about that. We've got NBA draft prep after the lottery was set over the weekend. We've got a better idea of who may select Michael Brown Jr. We've got a new member of the men's basketball team that I know lots of people are eager to hear me talk about. Not a new name, not a new commit, but a new member now of the 26-27 team. We can get into that. We have a potentially new commit coming up in the next week or so that we've already talked about, but we can give some updates there. And then as far as the last couple of spots on the men's basketball team, we can get into that as well, because there are some names out there. There's also some new buzz about the 2027 recruiting class. Kentucky's also on big-time NBA draft watch. There may be some bad developments on that front for them. Funny for us. We'll talk about that. We'll hear from you on the Gameday Mens Health text line, as we always do, at 502-414-1450. That is the number to weigh in with your questions, your comments, your concerns, your topic ideas, your whatever. We will read those throughout the course of the next 3 hours. Matt Childress is here. Give a follow on Twitter at @mchildress__. Matt, how are you on this lovely Monday?
You remember how excited I was for Friday?
Yes.
Horrible weekend. Bad. Not because of things that happened.
Jesus.
I left here on Friday. Fantastic day.
It was beautiful.
Went out, hung out with the girlfriend for a little while, came home, ate some good food, watched, the playoffs and this and that. Had a great night. Wake up Saturday morning to get ready to go to my girlfriend's graduation. Throat gets a little scratchy.
Oh, no.
Little sore, just a little bit. And I'm like, oh, no. I start popping pills. I start getting ready. I'm drinking every ounce of water I can find. It progressively gets worse. Around 5 p.m., we get back to her house to, grad party, eat some dinner and stuff like that. I'm coughing up a lung. My throat feels like it's on fire. I got mucus everywhere.
You're spitting on everybody.
Literally.
Breathing heavily on them.
I'm like, look, I have to leave. I have to go home. Everybody wants to sit outside, enjoy the day as much as I want to. I can't. I just can't breathe. So I go home, take a bunch of medicine. I'm taking Dayquil, NyQuil, in-between Quill, whatever they're giving me, I'm taking it. I go to bed. Sunday's obviously Mother's Day. I'm like, okay, I'm going to drug myself up, get up ready to go for Mother's Day and do all the Mother's Day stuff. I wake up, and I literally felt deathly ill. I felt like there was so much mucus in my throat I couldn't breathe. I couldn't swallow. So I didn't get to do anything on Sunday. I literally sat in bed till 6 p.m. Taking medicine.
Just going to say it. Don't love that you're here today.
I'm better today.
You don't sound better.
I'm at the point of the illness that I'm just getting it all out now. My throat doesn't hurt anymore. There is some mucus or whatever, but I'm not what I was yesterday.
Are you Hanta Matt? Is the Matta virus? Are you
like
patient zero for Big X Hanta virus?
I feel like I would have passed away already.
I don't know. I don't like what I'm hearing right now. I don't like this one bit.
But I will say I am feeling better today. I'm just kind of getting it all out. I'm not getting it out on the mic over here. But yeah, unfortunately, what a beautiful weekend. Didn't get to experience it at all.
Well, we can't kiss between segments.
We can't, not today.
That goes out the window.
You know how when you get sick and you go to sleep, you're like, gosh, I know I need to sleep, but I can't because how sick I am? Well, last night I took NyQuil, finally fell asleep around like 2 a.m. Didn't wake up in the middle of the night even one time. Woke up at 12:45 today.
Jeez. One of those weekends. Well, I'm glad you're feeling a little bit better. Hopefully you can, after Monday with Dalton Pence wraps up, you can go home and just do the same thing again. Knock yourself out, get like 12 more hours of sleep.
We'll get back to kissing tomorrow.
And be good to go. Yeah, and we can kiss between segments again. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sure all the moms in your life were disappointed that they couldn't spend time with you, but they are moms, so I'm sure they also understood, right?
Yeah, it's one of those where, like, they understand, but you also feel terrible because, like, I was feeling sick on Saturday. I just didn't think it was going to get that bad, so I didn't tell them, like, hey, Mom, might not be able to make it tomorrow because I'm feeling kind of sick.
Uh-huh.
I thought that, overnight, sleeping a lot, I'd wake up, and I felt so bad. I was like, my mom definitely probably thinks I just made up an excuse not to go over there. And, Mom, that's not the case if you're listening. Generally didn't get out of bed till 6 o'clock.
So I had the same. So 4 years ago was when I first started getting the long COVID stuff, and like the first day it really hit me was Derby Day. I'll never forget it. Like it's ingrained in my consciousness forever. And then I woke up on Sunday, which was Mother's Day that year, the day after Derby, and I legitimately felt like I was going to die. Like just I've never had a feeling like that. I just felt the only way that I can describe it is I felt like I was poisoned. Like nothing felt real. It was just super, super strange. And so I had to, Mary had, we had all these plans with like my mom and stuff to do with Mary. And like I had to sleep through all of it. And I felt so bad. I hadn't like gotten anything together. And it was just the worst Mother's Day. And then like I stayed in bed for like 3 days. And I remember I think it was Thursday I finally came in. And I still felt just like, I mean, I felt bad for like 2 more years after that. But that day was just, it was one of those where, yeah, people are kind of wondering, like, oh, did you have too much fun at Derby? And I'm like, I literally can't get out of bed. I stand up for 5 seconds, and I feel like my whole world is collapsing. It was the worst. But you have that, the classic Catholic guilt, or the classic son guilt in this case, and you still feel bad. But everyone understands when you're sick. The people in your life that love you, they know everything's going to be fine. There are other days to celebrate. It'll be just okay. So I'm glad you're feeling a little bit better. Glad you got some rest. But that sucks. It was picture perfect weather all weekend long. Like Derby this year, it wasn't terrible because it didn't rain, but it was a little. You would have loved to have had this past weekend's weather on Derby weekend because that's Louisville at its finest. I mean, yesterday was like 71 and sunny. No, I was pushing John and my nephew now, who they moved like they live 2 hours. Mary, her youngest sister, and their family bought the house that my grandma used to live in, so they live like 2 doors down from us now, which is awesome. So, my nephew, who's 2, came down. I'm pushing them both on the swing, and I'm like, guys, look at the sky. No clouds whatsoever. And then John goes, what's that? And I pull my phone out. It was clearly like a balloon that was like one of those, like how they have the number balloons, like happy 40th birthday, and they got kind of sparkly. It looked like a 0 balloon, but there was a split second. I pulled my phone out and took a video of it. I was like, this looks like a UFO. Like all the UFO stuff is happening, and Virginia comes out and she's like, it looks like an alien spacecraft. And John's like, are they mean? I'm like, I don't know, buddy. I'm trying to figure out what this is. I'm like zooming in on it, and then I'm like, Mary, come outside. Look at this. And she's like, that's definitely a balloon. I was like, I think it's a balloon, but got the best. But like you could see, we could watch it for like 15 minutes because the sky was so perfect. The weather was wonderful. We actually went to yesterday. We had some downtime after going out to brunch for Mother's Day with Mary's family, and her other sister, Laura, they have a pool at their place, and they're like, we're going to go get in the pool. And I was like, you can go get in the pool. I'm not getting – it's 72. It feels great. It is way too cold to get in the pool. And so our kids got in there. They looked purple when they got out of the water, but it was the first pool experience of 2026. So we got that knocked out, got that out of the way. We got to see my mom on Saturday, went out to lunch with her after John's T-ball game. Saw all the moms this weekend. Great mom stuff. Love all the moms in my life. I hope they all had fantastic weekends. But that was the lion's share of our activities this weekend. Just doing mom stuff. Classic mom stuff. I hope your weekend was fantastic. Hope you did get out there in time to enjoy a solid amount of the beautiful weather here in the city. If you didn't, it's on you. Hopefully it'll be nice for the rest of this week. But we had things going on over the weekend. And the biggest piece of news happened, I think it was while I was at brunch yesterday. Folks, Isaac Ellis is going to be a Cardinal next year. The amount of people that tagged me on those tweets or those Instagram posts yesterday, I was like, I get it. I've said not great things about the kid before. I'm sure he's a lovely young man. I hope he's a fantastic player for us. And we'll get a chance to find out if he can make good on that promise earlier than we thought. Isaac Ellis has reclassified to the 2026 class. He will join Louisville for the 2026-27 season. Now, this is sort of like the Obina Akizi news because reclass is kind of misleading here. Isaac Ellis turns 20 in, I think, during the season. So if he had played another season of high school basketball, he would have been turning 20 in the middle of his OTE season, which, typically when you're turning 20 in the middle of a school year, that school year is your sophomore year of college. So it probably was time to go ahead and get the college career going. He had said, though, and I think you brought this up a couple of times, Matt, when Isaac Ellis first announced his commitment to Louisville, they talked about, why and all, and he laid out his business plan essentially and was like, he's got his own YouTube series with his brother, Ian, who played last season at South Carolina, and they're sort of like Instagram, TikTok superstars. And he was basically like, I want to monetize this thing as much as I can. I recognize that the NBA may not be in my future, so I need to get as much money as I can while I'm an active player. And he basically was like, having another year of OTE is great for, online earnings, brand earnings, like influencer earnings, all that stuff. And then I get 4 years, hopefully, at Louisville or somewhere else where I can make a lot of money playing college basketball because of both the fact that I'm good enough to play at Division I college and because of my online presence here. So he's missing out on a year of OTE earnings to go ahead and start that college career. He was the OTE MVP last year, right?
Yes.
He averaged 31.5 points and 9.5 assists per game. He is still a 3-star recruit that I think once he's re-ranked into the 2026 class will not be in the top 150. If he is in the top 150, it'll be low. I think he was already like 187 or something in the 2027 class. So the numbers tell one story. The recruiting rankings and I think most people's projections for him as a college basketball player tell a different story. He is 6'1", if that. He is a okay ball handler. He's a okay shooter. He took a lot of shots. I mean, you see all the highlight videos of him. He is left-handed, though, so that's right up Pat Kelsey's alley. You see all the videos of him, and it looks like he's shooting. He's mini Rain Smith. He's out there knocking down. Excuse me. I'm dying over here. He's knocking down 15 threes a game, and then you look at his numbers, and you're like, oh, he shot 31% or whatever from three. He just took a million threes. So if you haven't been clear about where I stand on this, I'll set the table here. I don't know how much he helps you next season. Hopefully he's a great teammate. Hopefully he's somebody who earns the right to go in there and be sort of a microwave offensive player for a handful of minutes. I would not expect him to play a gigantic role on this team. I don't think that many Louisville fans are expecting that. But even if you're expecting him to be sort of a Rain Smith light, I think that may be setting the bar a little bit too high. But he might bring some added notoriety, some added attention to the team through his Instagram and TikTok channels and his YouTube series. And if Pat Kelsey has vented the kid and says, look, he's going to be a great teammate, we think that the juice is worth the squeeze here, the good outweighs the bad, I'll trust him on that front, but I am not expecting him to be a big-time difference maker on this 26-27 team, and I think that that's probably a pretty – it's not – you don't have to be a gigantic ball knower to be able to make that take. I think that's probably the party line for everybody that's followed this recruitment. Matt, your reaction to Isaac Ellis becoming, I believe, the 11th official member of this men's basketball team for next season.
I mean, if he wants to come in and sit in the corner for 11 minutes a game and catch and shoot three,
I don't think he's playing 11 minutes a game.
I don't even have words. Like when I saw this dropped, I mean, the first thing I thought was, I mean, he'll get to shoot. Pat Kelsey will draw something up for him if he does get in. It worries me a little bit because it makes me feel like you brought the the points that, he could have made more money with OTE for another season. He could have kind of stretched this thing out. It worries me that we're paying him more than we probably should.
I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know the financials here. Maybe he thought it just made more sense to come in here and play. It's just interesting to me because when he first committed to Louisville, in his very first interview with Joe Tipton or whoever, he laid out essentially his 5-year plan, which did not include reclassifying and playing for Louisville next season. And now things have changed. I don't know exactly what made that change. He talked with Jody Demling over at Cardinal Authority yesterday and said, initially I was content sticking with Louisville in the 27 class, and I was going to have more time to spend with my family over the next year. And his quote was, and then it changed in a hurry. Ellis got contacted by the Louisville staff about the opportunity to join a year early, and he said it was a no-brainer. He said, I'm really, really excited. It all happened really quickly. It was fast and not what I expected. I had my eyes set on another year at home with the family. This all came about pretty quick. I learned about the opportunity, and it was an easy decision. So reading between the lines there, it does kind of make me believe that they said, we'll pay you at whatever you're making at OTE this year, whatever you're making through brand partnerships for another year, we can make good on that. You don't even have to worry about being a big-time contributor, but we're going to pay you enough money to make it worth your while to be a member of the Louisville basketball team. This is one of those where you wish you could have the real story. Like, I would love to sit Pat Kelsey down and just say, hey, off the record, what went into you guys saying, like, we need, one, recruiting Isaac Ellis to begin with, and then two, saying, let's go ahead and get him on the team for next season. I wonder if they see a role for him, or if they feel like they can use his marketability, or if it was just, we're going to fill out the rest of the roster and we think he's a good vibes guy. We think he'll be good for the overall competitive fire of the team. Because you see those videos, and this is my big thing with the Isaac and Ian Ellis, is you see their videos and you wonder how much of it is genuine. Like it's a little, OTE is basically high school sports entertainment to begin with. They've got the guy on the microphone during the games. Everyone's not really playing any defense. It's just kind of every game feels like a glorified AAU All-Star game, and it's why I'm a little bit leery of taking kids from OTE. They've had mixed results in college so far, but there are videos of them both, specifically his brother more than Isaac, kind of getting in people's faces and talking bleep and giving the tough guy persona. And if that's genuine, yeah, we could use a guy like that for practice and for maybe in games and all this stuff. I mean, he's going to get on people's. We are assembling a team of players that I think we have like 3 or 4 guys that are pretty good at getting other people's on people's nerves. If we want to bring Kaysen back just for that purpose, then maybe that's a role that he can fill. But I mean, are you expecting Isaac Ellis to be anything more than kind of the 11th man off the bench and a guy who maybe can make a shot or two for you in decent situations, but probably is not going to be on the floor when it matters most this season?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm expecting. I don't see him really taking the floor too often this season, especially with the situation at hand where it seems like Pat Kelsey is really shrinking the rotations down this year with the pieces that we brought in. I think that you'll see a decent amount of games where he will come in and he might make a difference here or there. It'll probably be in kind of garbage time in the game or something like that. But no, I'm not expecting this dude to come in and be a difference maker. I'm just not.
The weird thing about recruiting freshmen now in this modern era is, and again, you don't really know this without having conversations with the staff, and certainly we're not having those conversations right now. Nobody is. But do they have some sort of feeling from him that he wants to play for Louisville for multiple seasons? Because when you were recruiting players in the past that were 3-star players outside of the top 100 in their respective classes, you could say, oh, okay, like we're going to bring them in. They're going to play sparingly, or back in the day, you would say we're going to redshirt them, which we did last year, and you kind of saw why I don't think we're ever going to do that again. And he'll be a contributor for us in 2 years, and then we think he can be a really good college player maybe 3 or 4 years from now. You don't really have like that's not something that you can rely on in this day and age. You can't say, well, I think that Isaac Ellis, I love his future. I love where he could, what he's going to be doing for us in the 29-30 season. You'll talk to us then. You may not see much of him next year, but in 3 years, talk to me about Isaac Ellis. Isaac Ellis may be in the portal before the end of next season. You have no idea what these kids are going to do. You can't bank on anything outside of just the winter ahead. That's all you can do now when you're trying to assemble your roster, unless you are able to work out some sort of deal, which, again, will not be legally enforceable. But if you feel like the kid is an honorable young man from an honorable family and they're going to stand by their word, then you can try. It's just, this is weird. And he's not the only player that we're going to be talking about this with. We brought in Ferlandez Wright from the 27 class, who also is sort of, he's I think 4-star according to some services, 3 stars according to some others. He's a guy that I think could help you immediately, but his best days in college are probably going to be, sophomore, junior, senior. If he goes out there and contributes his freshman year, maybe he gets an offer from somebody else that you can't match. Or if he doesn't play enough, maybe he wants to go to some other program as a sophomore where he can play a lot more. It's just like you can't bank on anything outside of 1 year ahead. So you can see why a decent amount of programs that are in Louisville's sort of stratosphere are saying, we're only going after one and dones. Or we're only going after low 3-star, 4-star players that, he's not going to transfer from North Carolina. He's not going to transfer from Duke. We have to kind of hope the same thing for some of these types of players, or else you're just getting them to sit on the bench for a year and put us on your social media channels, which, maybe that is the deal here. I don't know. But Ellis was asked about, joining Louisville despite the loaded roster that's already been assembled by Kelsey, and he said, playing for this program's a dream come true. We're not your typical high major family. We're from a small town in North Carolina. We had our goals and dreams set. I was already in shock to be going to Louisville, and now I get to go there early and join such a great team. It's just a cool experience. I like what he's saying, Like, I don't know if he's going to be any good. His brother Eli was sort of seen as the better prospect of the two of them, and he went to South Carolina last season, got solid minutes, averaged 8.6 points as a freshman on a not very good South Carolina team. His efficiency numbers weren't very good. He's now headed to the College of Charleston for his sophomore year, but I do like what he's saying here. So there's that. Look, I'm going into this with an open mind, okay?
He's got a PR team.
I'm going into this with an open mind. I hope Isaac Ellis becomes my favorite player on next year's team. I hope he lights it up from the outside. He has a Preston Knowles-type freshman season where he's giving you grit minutes and helping you out more than you ever could have guessed when he was a 2-star commit over the middle of the summer from Winchester with no scholarship offers outside of VCU. I'm hoping we have the same type of thing here. I'll just have to see it before I can believe it. We'll take a break. When we come back, some other thoughts from the weekend that was in sports, one more basketball thought, or basketball piece of news for the men's basketball program, and some text from you guys. The Rutherford Show continuing next here on the Big X. sick before, right before the kids get out of school, I'm not going to be happy, Matt. Just letting you know. Just you stay in there today. You stay in the production room. You close that door. You're Hanta's quarantined. Matavirus is, you're not allowed to leave that room. That's basically a cruise ship for you now.
It's a horrible cruise ship.
Look.
There's not a lot of vacationing going on over here.
This is why I don't go on cruise ships. One of many reasons. Viruses start spreading. People get sick. Now you got to stay there. You can't. I've got 10 days left before the kids are done with school. They're both out Thursday next week. I can't be missing programs, missing stuff because you decided to come in. I've got a billion dance contest things going on. I got interviews on Friday. I'm doing Wave 3 listens next week. It's crazy. Can't afford to have you get me sick. Can't happen. Stay in there.
I'll stay in here. Believe me, I promise.
Congratulations to the Louisville softball team. The Cards wrapped up a very, very good regular season with a 44-12 record. They were rewarded yesterday with their 16th ever trip to the NCAA tournament. The Cards are headed to the Midwest. They will play in the Lincoln Regional, which is hosted by Nebraska. The Cornhuskers are the tournament's number 4 overall seed and the number 1 seed of the region. Louisville will open up NCAA tournament play on Friday at 4 o'clock. It'll be right in the middle of our show. You can watch it live on ESPNU. They're playing Grand Canyon. The Lopes, who are 52-8, obviously playing
Keontae Vernon,
playing a little bit less of a challenging schedule in the Mountain West than Louisville is playing in the ACC. But the Cards will take on the Lopes at 4 o'clock. If they win, they will face the winner of that matchup between the top-seeded Cornhuskers and South Dakota, who is 20-34-1. So Nebraska, I don't know if they're putting a spread on that one. I would take the Cornhuskers to cover. Cards will hopefully advance out of a regional for the first time in program history. Like I said, this is their 16th NCAA tournament appearance. They've never made it to the super regional stage of the NCAA tournament. They could make some history with a huge upset in the Omaha regional, but the Lincoln regional, I should say. Congratulations to Holly April and the Louisville softball team. They've had a fantastic season. On the other end of the spectrum, we had another Tungsten Armo duel weekend for the Louisville baseball team. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's completely fine. But Tate Davis goes out there, Matt. Bam, bam, 2 home runs. Bam, another home run. He sets the new ACC record for most home runs in a season with 33. He also has done it in, I think, like 15 fewer games than the two guys who held the record before him. One of them was J.D. Drew. I don't remember who the other one was. But, J.D. Drew had played in like 66 games, and the other guy had played in like 64, and I think Tag has done this in 53 games or something like that. He now is just 4 home runs short of tying the modern NCAA record for home runs in a single season. Unfortunately, Louisville is not a team that's going to make the NCAA tournament unless they win the ACC tournament, so he's only got 5 games guaranteed left this season. They play Bellarmine on Tuesday. They've got a 3-game series against Virginia, and then they're guaranteed at least 1 game in the ACC tournament, which has moved to that 16-team single elimination format. But he's doing all this. He's dropping bombs. People are still pitching to him for some reason. Oh, and by the way, Louisville lost the series against Miami, 2-1. It's just like we've had badly squandered individual seasons before. I would say, if you want to make a case that the Lamar Heisman season was squandered a little bit, you could. You could absolutely make the case, though, that the 2017 Lamar Jackson season, where his numbers were actually better across the board than they were in 2016, was totally squandered by a team that could not stop, me, Matt, and little Howard over there from scoring 50 points against them. That was what was awful. I'm sure we've had some basketball seasons where guys have had great. Carly Jones, 2021. This is maybe superior to all of those because you can easily claim that Tate Davis is having the best offensive season in the country. He's going to be probably a finalist for the Golden Spikes Award. And his team, which went to the College World Series last year, is somehow worse in just about every category than they were last season. This, congratulations to Tag, but it almost makes it worse every time he goes out there and hits 3 home runs in a game or 5 home runs in a weekend, and we're still getting swept or winning 1 out of 3. This baseball team, Matt, they've clearly been the biggest disappointment of the sports year in Louisville athletics.
I don't even think it's comparable.
Yeah, there's nobody's close.
I mean, Tank Davis is like there is a legitimate chance for people listening right now that Tank Davis is the best player that comes to Louisville baseball in the next decade.
Yeah.
And it's almost for nothing. I mean, not literally for nothing, like he's breaking a lot of accolades, and
it's great for him.
It's great for him. I'm glad, but it's one of those where baseball is the sport where if you're having a season like this, you obviously just keep going because because batting in baseball is such a single player kind of thing, like golf is, like you're playing by yourself. You can only boost your stats no matter if your team is good or bad.
Yeah.
The dude's not going to stop. He's going to keep going, and it's only going to hurt worse every single time I get a notification on my phone. Like, because I have the tweets turned on for Louisville baseball. It's like, Tay goes 470,000 feet.
I know.
I'm like, oh, we're down 11-2.
I know. I mean, it's sort of like, I mean, people forget this when McGuire broke the home run record in that famous summer of 98. That St. Louis team was not good. Now they weren't atrocious, but it was apparent back with the playoffs being the way that they used to be when I think in 98 you still only had 4 teams from each league make the playoffs. Like when he was chasing the record in the home stretch, the Cardinals had no chance of making the playoffs. This feels kind of the same way where it's like it almost like Roger Williams has to grimace every time he hits one because he's like, okay, if we can just hold these guys under 15, we've probably got a shot to win. And his pitching staff's like, nope, not today. And it's just beyond frustrating because this is the type of season that you dream of one of your players having as a college baseball coach. And unfortunately, it does seem like barring some sort of minor miracle next week at the ACC tournament, we are going to squander this. Thank God Sean Moth is guaranteed that he's coming back for another year, which if you haven't listened to the show, Sean Moth is guaranteed. He's put his whole life.
He's locked it down.
He said, I will retire from everything if Tank Davis doesn't come back for his junior season. That's what he said. He'll give up all of it. He said, I'll give Mike Rutherford my Colorado Avalanche Stanley Cup championship rings. That's what he said. That's him on record. So obviously I stand to gain something here, but unfortunately, that's how confident Sean Moth is that Tank Davis is coming back. So blame Sean if he doesn't come back. Louisville baseball.
Really bad.
It's just like with football and basketball, it was frustrating that you felt like they were capable of so much more throughout the season, and they just like couldn't find that light bulb moment. But at least they were still good. At least there was no question that Louisville was going to be a safe bowl team in football, and they were going to safely be in the NCAA tournament in basketball. With baseball, we are awful when it comes to our RPI. We had zero shot of making the NCAA tournament 3 weeks out from the selection show, and now we're looking for a miracle just to extend our season more than 10 days from now. So
no, I mean, like when I was growing up, I always loved watching Louisville baseball. I went to every game that I could, or like that at least I had, was capable of going to, and usually I have the confidence throughout the season that Louisville has the capability to get me to July, or at least late June.
Right, June, yeah.
And, if you get lucky, early mid-July. But, I mean, we were early April, and it was over.
Yeah.
It's one where, like, okay, well, now I got, like, 4 months to fill.
Yeah. I mean, we do the least cool person tournament every year on Card Chronicle after the athletic seasons come to a close.
Well, I know who it's going to be this year.
I mean, do you?
It's got to be Roger Williams.
You think he'll be up there? I mean, well, I think there'll be some candidates. There'll be some. I mean, here's the thing. There are going to be some people that want Michael Brown or Michael Brown's dad to be involved in the tournament. And I feel like I'm going to have to sort of just combine everything into the Michael Brown mystery or some sort of joint entity for the tournament. But Roger Williams may get some. He may get some heat.
You're right.
In that tournament.
I think if Michael Brown's dad is in there, he'll obviously win. But I think that like Roger Williams would be the surprise, like 2 or 3. Like people who probably don't follow Louisville baseball as heavily, like who is Roger Williams?
Yeah, it could happen. No question about that. But typically we wait until all of the season's over. And I know softball's playing in the NCAA tournament this week, but barring a trip to the Women's College World Series, that's probably going to be over at the most 2 weeks from now. And baseball, it's looking like could be over in 9 days. We may have a very early least school person tournament this year. I mean, like I said, last year we waited until after the College World Series was done. So it was like, I think first round didn't start until the beginning of July. And like this year it may be the end of May. So we'll have to see. Start thinking about your nominees. I did see a text line text, and I was going to bring this up anyway. But Matt, you are our resident Indiana Pacers fan.
Please don't do this.
It was a bad day for you yesterday. They have the NBA draft lottery drawing. And for those who don't know, the Pacers had made a trade where what was the name of the guy you guys got?
Vaca Zubac.
Zubac. And the trade was contingent on the Clippers get the Pacers' first-round pick unless Indiana gets one of the top 4 picks. So the Pacers, I think, pretty obviously tanked this season as it became apparent that injuries had derailed their year, and their hope was they would get one of these top 4 picks in this, people saying maybe one of the best draft classes of all time. You get a top 4 pick, you've got a difference maker. Doesn't matter who it is, Boozer, Caleb Wilson, DeBonza Peterson. You get one of those guys. Naturally, the Pacers do not get in the top 4. They did that trade just to get Zubac, essentially. They tanked for basically nothing. Every Indiana fan is claiming shenanigans on the NBA. They're saying this thing is rigged. The league hates the small market teams. They're never going to get closer than they were last year to winning a world championship. Matt, your reaction to a depressing Sunday for Indiana Pacers fan?
Adam Silver is just the worst human being.
So you're taking it out on management again?
I am.
Okay.
You're going to tell me 2 years ago, or was it last year? I think it was last year. The Mavericks get the number 1 overall pick after going to the finals the year before. And then this year, the past year, Pacers go to the NBA Finals, have a horrendous Tyrese Halliburton injury. You can tell that, they were riddled with injury at the beginning of the season, led to a really mediocre, probably arguably really poor start. Front office decides, look, really heavy draft class. Even if we don't get the number 1 pick, if you get a top 10 pick, you're going to have a great, possibly generational player coming into this team. You trade for Zubac, you're like, okay, we have a really good chance because of how bad our start is that we could get the top 5 pick. You trade, you put it all on the table, and then immediately as all that news starts breaking, Adam Silver wants to change all the lottery rules. He wants to change everything. He wants to stop tanking. He wants to give teams that are within the 10 to 14 range of draft order the best chance to get a lottery pick.
So you think this is a direct reaction to the Pacers?
I not just the Pacers. I mean, teams all over every team, the Nets, the Wizards, all these teams that tank year in and year out. I get that, but I'm just saying that you can't allow the Mavericks to go to the finals, then get a top 5 pick, and then the Pacers will say, "Oh, well, the Mavericks did it, we'll do it," and then Adam Silver say, "This is ridiculous. This is enough." Yeah, this man Adam Silver does, I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm not saying all that. I am saying that Adam Silver does hate small market teams. He can't stand it. He wants the teams like the Knicks. He wants the teams like the Mavericks. He wants teams like the Lakers and the Celtics to always be good no matter what they can do. Am I salty? Yes. I'm extremely salty because, like you said, we tanked for absolutely no reason. We don't even have a pick in the first round anymore. That's gone. We lose Ben Mathurin.
The Mavericks, by the way, they also have the 9th pick.
Yes, they do. and Oklahoma, and the Clippers have, I think, the 6th, 7th pick. Obviously,
I think they got 5th.
Yeah, 5th. It was ours
because you were right outside the top 4.
Yeah, so we had to be top 4. The Thunder get the 12th pick because that's not on Adam Silver. That's just a great front office they have, and they've got a plethora of picks together for the next 30 years. They're going to always be in there.
I did see, so I pulled up Jeremy Wu's. He updated his mock draft right after the lottery came out, and I was like, oh, the Thunder. I was like, how'd they get the 12? I was like, oh, he's got them taking Yaxel. That doesn't seem fair at all. This is the thing. I think Yaxel's going to be great in the NBA.
Yes.
The Thunder are going to get him.
It's so bad. I think the Pacers will be good next season. I think Vaca Zubac is a fringe top 6 or 7 center in the league. I think that, Tyrese Halliburton will come back. I think that he plays a style of basketball that, yes, the Achilles injury is terrible and it will, change the way he plays the game, but he's a facilitator. He's not some crazy hyper-athletic dude like a John Morant or Donovan Mitchell that relies too much on stuff like that, so I think he'll be okay. And I like the team we have. I like the team we're assembling. Now, would I rather have had A.J. DeBonza or Darren Peterson on this team? Yes, I would.
Do the Pacers not even have a 2nd-round pick? They don't.
Nope.
I was hoping you guys could at least get, I'd be like, oh, you guys got Ryan Conwell.
We went all out. Like, this is the first time, because the Pacers have a history of, like, they don't tank. They've never had the number one pick in the draft in their entire history, and it goes back to they almost lost the team in Indianapolis one time, and a bunch of fans rallied together to basically keep the team there and funded it themselves. So they promised they never do this, they never tank, they never do this, and they finally decided to do it. They're like, "Do we need it? This is our window to win. We're going to do it." All the fans were backing it, and you get nothing out of it. Adam Silver is the worst commissioner in sports history. He's terrible.
It kind of feels like this is just bad luck.
I refuse to believe in that. I refuse. I fully believe it's Adam Silver's fault.
The new order, it does seem, and who knows how accurate this is, but these people get paid to follow all things draft 12 months out of the year. Every draft expert that I've seen since the mock draft came out seems to indicate that this order is good for Michael Brown Jr. because most people see him. I think every single draft that I've seen outside of one from a major network has him going to the Hawks at number 8, which, by the way, the Hawks also traded away a pick last year in exchange for a pick this year, hoping to get a top 4, top 5 pick. They traded away the 13th pick in last year's bad draft for now a top 8 pick in this year's good draft, and as a result, they might get a replacement for Trae Young, who now is in Washington. If Michael's still available, it sounds like they are pretty sold on him. Now, if it came down to, hey, they can get Acuff or they can get Flemings and they might pick them over Michael, then that would change things. I'm assuming that both Flemings and Acuff will be off the board and Wagler as well by the time they get to pick 8. If Michael's around, it sounds like he'll get scooped up by the Hawks. If he's not, there's already been plenty of speculation that the Mavericks really like Michael and that he would go at pick number 9. So this seems to be good news for Michael. I thought it was interesting, too. Initially, Michael was listed as he was going to be competing in the 5-on-5 sessions at the NBA Draft Combine. He now is not playing in those 5-on-5 draft sessions, which when that happens, more times than not, it's because the player has received assurance that he's going to be taken somewhere in the top whatever. Some team that has pick 8 or pick 7 or pick 9 has told them, beyond the shadow of a doubt, if you are still on the board, we're going to take you when it gets to our turn. And at that point, the player feels like they've got nothing left to prove, and so why go out there and risk hurting your draft stock or hurting your body by playing? So we won't see Michael in the 5-on-5. I'll be shocked at this point because of the way that this all played out if he falls out of the top 10. So Louisville will have its first top 10 draft pick in – who's the last player we had taken in the top 10?
Gosh, I don't – where was
it wasn't Reese Gaines was a lottery pick.
Terry definitely wasn't top 10.
Terry wasn't top. I mean, Donovan wasn't top 10. I don't know if we've had one since Samaki Walker. Samaki was top 10, I think. If he wasn't, then I think you have to go back to Purvis in 80, or Felton Spencer was the early 90s too. NBA picks.
Don Mitchell was 13, so he was right outside the top 10.
Yeah, I think it's Samaki. I want to say Samaki was like 7 or 8 or 9. Yeah, Samaki Walker, 1996, was the 9th overall pick to the Dallas Mavericks. Are you familiar with Samaki Walker's draft day outfit, Matt? You're a little bit younger.
I'm not.
Okay, I need you to Google search right now, Samaki Walker draft outfit. This was Louisville's big center back in the day, left after his sophomore season. He was, a huge NBA draft prospect. This is what he wore to the draft. Check that out.
Trying to open up my computer. Oh.
Yeah.
I like the hat.
Yeah. We had him on the old show at one point when I was doing Ramsey and Rutherford. But by the way, he was fantastic. He's very, very personable. And he was like, what do you want me to say? I was 21 years old. I thought he's like, I thought it was cool. I don't know what else to say. But he was the 9th pick. Felton Spencer was the 6th overall pick in 1990, and then Purvis Ellison famously was the number 1 overall pick in 1989. All right, trivia. I said Samaki Walker was the last top 10 pick we've had. Between that year, 1996, and now, who's the closest pick we've had to being top 10? Was not Donovan Mitchell.
Earl Clark?
Earl Clark was 14th overall in 2009. I mean,
is that the right answer?
No.
Oh, I thought, okay.
It was the correct answer is the same year, though, if that gives it away.
Terrence Williams?
Terrence Williams was 11th overall to the New Jersey Nets. Not a great pick. It didn't go great for them. He had moments early on where it looked like it might be a good pick for them. But, yeah, he was the closest we've had since Samaki Walker to having a top 10 pick. I would assume that's going to change coming up here in a few weeks because it sounds like Michael is going to be a top 10 pick in this draft.
This is one of those like times when you look back and you think, I can't believe this was fashionable. Like obviously the hat.
Oh, you're still looking at Samaki Walker.
The hat's really bad. But this was also the era in the NBA where every draft pick had that like crazy baggy suit on.
Oh yeah, look at the
like 10 sizes too big.
Look at the 1996 like group photo. It's pretty famous because everybody's suits are like outrageously large, and the outfits are pretty bad. It's there's a famous picture of all of them together, and it's just it looks like something from a time machine.
It's a lot of buttons on these jackets.
A lot of buttons on the jackets. A lot of big shoulders. MC Hammer balloon pants for the slacks. It was a different time back then. Speaking of draft decisions, have you seen? I mentioned Michael is no longer going to play on the 5-on-5s. Malachi Moreno also has said he's not playing in the 5-on-5s. Kentucky fans, they don't know if this means like, oh, he's definitely coming back and he didn't want to get hurt, or if he's received a guarantee that he's going to be a first-round pick. Regardless, he is pretty clearly in a like serious stay or go situation. There were some people who thought even when the draft forecast that had him as a late first-round pick started coming out a week ago that he was going to be a guy that was just going to go through the process and ultimately come back to UK. It sounds like it's a genuine decision for him. If they don't get him back, I mean, that team's going to be bad.
No, they have no center. Well, they just got
the guy who's a 34-year-old who averaged 6 points and 6 rebounds for the second worst team in the Big Ten last year.
But like CM Peak was telling me the other day, I was talking to him, and he was like, "Yeah, I'd be," because we were debating on if they get Milan, like is no matter what, I know you desperately need a player. Are you comfortable with spending the money you're going to spend on him? Because that's probably why you're going to get him.
Hell yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, I think you can do this and this and that." And he goes, but he finishes off with, "But if Malachi goes to the draft, we're screwed. Like, our season's over."
Yeah, you got no center at that point. You are going out there and you are finding, you're hoping that this one of the kids they got from overseas is going to be way better than anybody thinks, and you can play him at the 5. But yeah, it becomes very thin at that point. Momcilovic, by the way, also said today he's not playing in the 5-on-5. So, not sure if that's just his preference. I think he's going to come back to school when all's said and done. I know that the initial word for the last several months, I guess after several weeks since he made his official announcement, was he's probably going to stay in. I think he really wants to go. I don't think he's going to get the first-round guarantee that he's looking for. So if it's just I'm desperate to be a professional, that I think would be the only thing that would keep him in the draft because he can make more money playing in college next season. He's not going to hurt his draft stock. And I don't think it's near a guarantee that he's going to be a first-round pick. Now, there is so if Momcilovic comes back to school, Kentucky very clearly is I think, the team to beat. They're the team that needs him the most. They're the team that has the most money to spend at this point because they've missed out on so many players. They will throw the world at him. There is a very funny potential situation here where Momcilovic announces, like, this week, I'm out of the draft. I'm coming back to play college basketball. Every UK fan goes nuts. They're throwing parades down Main Street in Lexington. They're going berserk. We got this guy. Let's go. We're back to having it. We're going to win the national title. It's number 9. And then out of nowhere, Louisville's like, "Would you like to play for Louisville for less money?" And he's like, "Hell yeah. Let's ride. Let's be a preseason top 10 team. Let's go win a national title." Nothing would break UK fan spirits. They're already on edge. You can tell because of how much they're talking about Louisville. Nothing would break them quite like losing Moreno and then losing Momcilovic to Louisville. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that we're at all involved here. I think, we obviously would take him. I think we would, if we had the money, we could find room on the roster for Milan Momcilovic. But if that did happen, the comedic aspect of it would be,
we don't need room. We got Isaac Ellis.
Stop. We're not doing that. We have, 11 players at this point now, I think, locked in?
I think so.
You're pretty close to having the full roster for next season. We've got 2 walk-ons, 11 scholarship players. I think I'm counting Boran Zhang at this point, who is is not committed. He took his visit over the weekend. I think he's still going to take another visit this week. I think we're in very good shape there. I'll be surprised if he does not commit to Louisville, but I think it won't be until like late this week or next week. I think if you get Zhang, that leaves you with 11. I'm not sure if it's 12. I'd have to count up during the break. But we're basically at a point where you're talking about just adding one or two more players. And if it can be an impactful player, obviously that's awesome. If it's not, you still feel like you've got a pretty good roster that you're ready to go to battle with. The question that I got a couple of times out in public this week was, like, everybody's saying the same thing. Like, everybody's excited, but they're all saying, we're going to be top 15 good, excited. Do you think we can get to, we could win a national title good, excited? And we can talk about that after the break. We'll share some thoughts there. I want to ask Matt an updated thought on that. We'll also go to the Gameday Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. We'll check in with YouTube Nation as well and hear what you guys have to say. Your hour's coming up next here on 1450 and 96.1 The Big X. It's hour number 2 here of the Monday edition of the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical. 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Matt Childress in the house here. I was counting it up during the break. So we've got, oh, God, he's patient zero over there.
I thought I'd muted. Sorry, I was pressing the button.
Just absolutely just making the whole building sick. This is how outbreaks start. Manta virus over there just completely trying to get me out of here. Doesn't want me talking on the radio that much anymore. So we've got Shelstead, Woolley, Carter Knox, Alvaro Forgaris, Flory Badunga, Obina Kesey, Gabe, what's the Dines, Deshane Montgomery, Isaac Ellis, London Johnson. That's 10. Am I missing anybody? Who am I missing? I feel like I'm missing one player. Am I?
You said, is that you're doing just scholarship players?
Just scholarship players. Sorry to our boy Cole Hankey. We love you.
I can't think of one right now off the top of my head.
I think that's. I think I've got everybody. And then if you add in Boran Zhang, that would be 11. So we're like, we're you can keep 15 players now at this point. It's no longer a 13-player scholarship limit. It goes up to 15. Most big-time schools aren't doing that. So I think that we're just probably going to add one or two more players. Patrick Ryan texted us during the break, and he was like, on Momcilovic, how weird and maybe awkward would it be to go from playing for a team that 2 months ago said, hey, we're going up against UK. If you get up on them, they're just going to quit, and beating the hell out of them, to then going and playing for that team that had the culture where your coach was like, yeah, these guys, they don't know how to play basketball. They've got no heart. Their coach doesn't know what he's doing. We're going to kill him if we get up on him. Like, that would be a tough adjustment, I think, for him. And I think it's one of the things that maybe is, if you're going to play for Kentucky, you're clearly doing it for the bag, but also, like, are you really respecting this program when you know the way that TJ Otzelberger was talking about him just 2 months ago, and that he ended up being right when all was said and done?
Yeah, I mean, when you're going up against the idea that Kentucky just has literally, like, basically infinite money because they haven't landed anybody, it's like, hey, you see all these top 10 players in the country that we were trying to get? Yeah, you have all this money to pull from. How much do you want? It's like, I mean, yeah, I don't think I care if we win or lose at that point.
So let me ask you, with the 10 players that we have now, Zhang, I think Zhang can be a really good player for us. Once again, I don't know how impactful he'll be as a freshman, but I do like his skill set a lot, and I do think he can play a role on this team. But I don't think he takes you from being wherever you have Louisville pegged in the early top 25 to like 3 or 4 spots higher. With the roster that we have right now, do you think we can be, I'll say, a Final Four team with the 10 players that we know we have for 26-27?
I think so. I think that it comes down to, have we solved the issues of, when you're going up against the actual teams that are Final Four caliber good? Like, are you able to plan for them? Are you able to make the adjustments in game that these coaches can make? If we go out there in this roster the first time we play Duke or something, gets absolutely swatted around in the second half and we lose by 15 to 20, and then you're saying, okay, well, it's last year again, then I'm going to say no. But I think, barring the idea that Pat Kelsey has, used the 2 seasons here at Louisville as a Power 4 head coach and learn from them, yes, I think this team can be good enough to win a national championship or at least make a Final Four.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to how well the staff implements a system that fits all their skill sets and how well this team can gel. Because defensively, you've got all the makings of a team that should be very, very, very good, even if you don't add a single other player. Offensively, I think there are some legitimate questions. I mean, we're looking at, I just reeled off the 10 players. Who do you think leads that team in scoring?
I'm going to say it's either going to be...
There's no clear answer,
I'm going to say it's Jackson Shelstad fully healthy maybe, or like really big development leap Adrian Woolley.
I think that's where everybody is because, Badunga, he seems to be pretty set. He's going to give you 13, 14, 15 a game. That's kind of who he is. But you want to have somebody averaging more per game than that. And there's no real clear... Like last year, we all kind of knew, it was like, hey, it's probably going to be Conwell or Brown. The year before, it's going to be Edwards or Hepburn. There's less clarity on that front because we're asking for all of these guys to be more than what they've been in the past, which I think is certainly very possible. But imagine if that doesn't happen. Imagine if all of these guys are more or less the same players they were a year ago. That's absolutely not a Final Four caliber team. So I think you still need, there are still some question marks this team. I love what we've done in the offseason. We did what we had to do to field a roster that has the potential to be competitive with just about anybody. But I think you're right. forget about the Kansas exhibition game. The first time we play a team with a real pulse in the season, it is going to feel more important than just the classic average first game against a quality opponent during a season, just because everybody is going to be curious if there's going to be a marked difference between this team and the past two when it comes to the way that they're able to compete against the best teams on their schedule. So whether that's in Vegas or we play Kentucky early in the season again or we play somebody else really, really good in the first couple of weeks, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Pat Kelsey to step up and say, we addressed our concerns from last year. We fixed out, all the problems that made us not competitive against Arkansas, Tennessee, and Duke and those types of teams. Look at us now. Because if you go out there and you get your ass kicked with a bunch of 7-footers and a bunch of big brawny dudes, it's kind of like, all right, we tried to beat him with shooting, couldn't get it done. We tried to beat him with physicality, size, and defense, couldn't get it done. Maybe we just have a coach that can't get it done. I think that's where everybody's minds will immediately go. So, yeah, we have all these questions, and I don't think we really start to get any of the answers until November. Now, that I said you can kind of toss away the results of the Kansas exhibition game. It would behoove this team to not go into Allen Fieldhouse and get blown out by 25 or 30 points and get everybody talking. It doesn't really matter in the big picture, but people will certainly draw some conclusions from whatever happens in that exhibition game the same way they did last year. And some of those conclusions wound up looking fairly accurate as far as Louisville was concerned when it came to the season that was 5 months ahead of it. Let's go to the Gameday Men's Health text line. 502-414-1450 is the number there. Reminder, Gameday Men's Health, redefining men's wellness with no shortcuts, just results, testosterone, peptides, weight loss, sexual performance therapy, and more. Visit GamedayMensHealth.com today to find out what they could do for you. Apparently my son is acting like he's not feeling well. Great job, Matt.
That's on me, sorry.
Well done.
When I went to
he's quiet and he's snuggled up with a babysitter. He only does that when he's sick.
When I went to the Mike Rutherford household this weekend, I apologize.
The hell you been doing in my house? The hell's going on right now? I don't like anything that's happening right now. 502-414-1450. Texter says. A lot of good texts today. All right. Hey, Mike. I've been reading up on the SAVE Act and the proposals suggested by the College Sports Committee, and I hope it comes to fruition. I knew this was going to. It's not going to, but I'm with you. I think it actually would help. I can't help but laugh at the irony and lack of self-awareness of the committee's proposals and who it was commissioned by. Pooling media rights so college sports resources aren't hoarded by the very few. Caps on out-of-control salaries for those in positions of power. Saving supposed freeloader sports that don't bring in revenue. Oversight to keep greed and corruption in check. Wow. That sounds an awful lot like the dreaded S word we don't say in this country. Hold my beer while I go dust off my Bernie 2016 sign and laugh at the irony of pointing out the problems that happen literally to every other greedy industry in society and the framework they're proposing. Gee, maybe there's something to those solutions. First text of the day, just really really pushing the needle, really moving the needle right off the bat. Yeah, I mean, the SAFE Act, the proposal suggested, and even the alterations that I guess the commissioners came up with today, I think they're good. I think they would go a long way towards at least alleviating, not fixing, but alleviating the big problems that the average college sports fan has with the direction of college sports these days. The problem is it's never going to get passed. It's not. Like, that won't. I hope it does. I hope I'm wrong about that. I don't see it going anywhere. It always seemed like window dressing. But if it were to get passed, I think it could be something that actually changed college sports for the better and could be that bubble bursting, avoiding moment that everybody's kind of looking for when it comes to college sports. Texter says, I don't know what that was in reference to. Texas, I'm really hoping that Boron commits so I can zhang out with my wang out, or is it pronounced differently so that I would zhong out with my tongue out? I still don't know how the last name is pronounced. I need to figure that out, but it did sound like his visit went well over the weekend. He's a lefty. I think you're contractually obligated. We've got to get to the bottom of this lefty thing. We've got to figure this out. Do you think it's weird, kind of as a side note, there's been a lot of stuff happening with Louisville basketball over the past 7 weeks. We haven't heard from Pat Kelsey once since the eyeball emoji tweet. The post. Well, I mean, just like no press conferences, no radio interviews, no media availability since the Michigan State loss. And this seems like it would be a good time to get out there and thump your chest. Now, I don't care. I'm not like one of those I'm like, you got to come on my show. You got to. If he feels like there's nothing that he can say that's going to enhance the fan contentment level right now, then so be it. That's totally fine. But I'd like to hear from him right now. I'm excited about the season ahead. I'm excited about the things that we've been doing. I'd love to hear his grand plan for how he's going to take all these different pieces and make them fit together. But we haven't heard from him. I think we're all still a little bit conditioned to like Patino. I know it's been almost a decade now, but he would have, if we got a player, if we got a commit from like 2029, and he couldn't even talk about it, he still would go on like 7 radio shows. He'd make his own like blog post about it, and would just like, you couldn't keep him away from a mic during these months. He would just get so bored, and he would want to tell everybody everything. And now it's been a little bit different. We were upset when Kenny Payne didn't talk, and then he talked, and we're like, all right, man, maybe just stay away from the microphones. But Pat Kelsey sort of struck me as a guy that would want to be out there talking a lot. And
gosh, what an era of college basketball, and your coach would be bored in the offseason.
Yeah, that was what was happening.
They used to have it so easy.
The text says, hey, Mike and Mark, if you were an NBA GM, what order would the top 5 prospects be on your big board? Personally, for me, it's AJ, Peterson, Caleb Wilson, Boozer, Wagler. I'll let you go first if you'd like to play NBA GM here.
I actually got a hot take on this one.
Okay, love it.
I'm taking Devonta, then I'm taking Peterson. The first 3 I'm keeping the same. Devonta, Peterson, Caleb Wilson. I'm going Wagler, and then I'm taking Darius Acuff. Boozer's not in the top 5.
I'm with you. Matt or Roman would get mad whenever I would bring this up, because I was with the big-brained NBA takes that were like, I don't love the way that he doesn't finish great over length. Yeah, it's just he's kind of an under-the-rim type guy in the NBA. I don't know if that translates.
He's also an undersized big man.
He is. I would go Devonta 1. I'd go Peterson 2. I'm with you in saying if I'm the Grizz, I'm taking Caleb Wilson at 3. I think he's a bona fide superstar. I think I would take Boozer at 4, just because despite those limitations, I think he's he's got maybe the highest floor of these guys that we're talking about. Like he'll be a productive NBA player. I just don't know if he's a franchise changer the way that some of these other guys can. I think Wagler's a big risk at 5. I think that he's as good as he was. Sometimes these guys that are big, kind of coming out of nowhere, despite not having the best pedigree, they turn back into a pumpkin at midnight sometimes when they get their shot in the NBA. I think he's got great size. I don't know if he's quick enough. I would be torn. Again, this is Mike Rutherford, GM. Here's the thing, and people are gonna roll their eyes. I think Mike Hill's gonna be a really good pro.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I think it's gonna drive us all crazy. I think his combination of vision and that range is perfect for being an NBA point guard. I would be down between Acuff and him for 5 on that spot, and I think I'm gonna go with Mike Hill.
I think Mike Hill in top 5.
Again, if I'm NBA GM, yeah.
Okay. Who has that pick again?
The Clippers. That's
okay.
The one that you were supposed to have. Now, I don't think it'll play. I'm just talking. I'm not talking about fit. I'm just saying like best 5 available.
They need a point guard.
Yeah. I think Mike Hill's going to be really good. I think Acuff's going to be really good too. Flemings and Wagler, I think, could be really good. I think they're more of a risk than the other players that we're talking about. I also think Yaxel's going to be good in the NBA. He is sort of like Boozer to me, in that I think his floor is too high for him to fail. I don't think he'll be a 4 unproductive years and then out of the league forever type guy. I think he'll be a productive player for like 10, 12 years.
I understand that Darius Acuff is just like a liability on defense and he's a little undersized, but I genuinely believe he's like the next Jalen Brunson. Like, I think that his scoring ability is just so above basically everybody else in this draft, like in his position, that somebody like the Knicks or the Clippers or one of those teams that needs a scoring guard will go out there and pick him up, and he'll have a very long NBA career.
I could see that. I love how I give all these NBA takes, and I'm just like college big brain guy. Like, and then I end up just forgetting that all of these players existed. I'm like, oh yeah, he's in the NBA. He's playing for this team. I rediscover all of this when the playoffs come around. Texas says, is it still not a concern for you that Flory Badunga may decide to stay in the draft? No, I mean, I think it would be a huge shock if he stayed in the draft at this point. I think that they're fine with him going through the process. I think if he got a, like top 20 guarantee, he still might get less money next year to play in the NBA than he would be getting from Louisville. But I think it's a very, I'm not going to say there's zero concern, but I think it's a very small concern at this point. The people at U of L that I talk to are, they're not concerned. I sound like Michael Cera from Superbad. I'm not worried about it. It's not, I'm not, I don't think they're worried about it. Don't worry about it. I'm not worried about it. That's me talking about Flory Badunga. Tesla, hey, Matt, did the Pacers get absolutely screwed in the draft lottery? Yes. Not a good sign for the future.
Yes, absolutely screwed.
Also, that from Wemby was an elbow from hell. That was a big MFing dude throwing an elbow to a dude's jaw. That was a crazy moment last night. The reaction shot to Dylan Harper is one of the best memes we've had in a long time. I'm assuming you saw that.
Yes, I did.
He's just mouth agape as they zoom in on him after. I mean, that was a vicious elbow and was clearly premeditated. Are you surprised that they did not hit Wemby with an additional 1-game suspension?
No, I'm not surprised at all.
I'm not either.
I mean, that dude, every single time he's in the paint, is getting absolutely hornswoggled down there.
I mean, he's been mauled.
Like, dudes are out there, like, linebacker checking this dude every time, which I get it. He's 7'5", and he's got, like, a 12-foot wingspan. I get you got to do everything you can. But, look, sometimes it boils over. I'm not surprised he took a shot. Nas Reed just kind of got in the way. It wasn't even really for him, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, you see, like, the buildup is happening where he's just getting clawed, and he's trying to get loose, and he gets that one extra little shove. And you can tell, like, he finally gets some space, and he's just thinking about it. He's like, all right, it's time. Like, we got to send a message here. And he loaded up, and he went after him. I do like the clip of, like, the ref coming over and him asking, like, what does that mean when I get a flagrant 2?
Yeah,
he goes, I'm ejected? like he was shocked that he was getting kicked out of the game. It did also make for a more interesting series. The T-Wolves win that game when maybe they would not have had Wemby stayed in. And you've also got now a little bit of drama between the two teams. It adds intrigue to Wemby, who already is maybe the most interesting player in the league. I mean, I'm more curious to watch Game 5 now than I would have been had that not happened. So, yeah, there's that. Roman is like, by the way, Roman's already doing the defeatist Lakers fan thing. He's like, I just hope they can, like, keep it close enough that I stay awake for tonight's game. I'm like, I mean, I get it. Like, you guys have gotten your ass kicked, but yeah, it's
on Friday. He finally came over to the light side of the Oklahoma City Thunder are ruining the NBA. He finally.
He's now going like that's the pivot.
Yes, he's finally there.
My nephew, who's a diehard Lakers fan, he's wrapping up his freshman year at center, and he doesn't want to go into sports media because he's smart. But he started like his own Substack just so he could do a little writing for fun. And he sent me a post. He's like, I just want to see what you think about this. And the whole thing was just Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Thunder are ruining professional basketball.
Yeah.
Like they're ruining this game that I've loved my entire life and this whole thing. And I was like, yeah, more and more people are hopping on board.
I'm saying if you have a favorite team in the NBA, yeah, during the regular season, it's whatever. Play a playoff series against the Thunder. That's what you will think as soon as it's over.
Well, I guess I follow a lot of Pacers fans that I didn't realize until they were good last year. That was the same thing that every single game they were so pissed off watching their team play Jalen Brunson. And they're like, this isn't basketball. Like this is, and I'm sure that I would feel this. I mean, we kind of did that this year where, Juke Harris is good. He's pushing off every time. It's different when you're viewing it through the lens of a fan. I understand it. But even trying to watch as a casual, I don't care about either of these teams, I just love basketball type person, it's tough to watch for long stretches where he's just hurling his body around. And I'm like, I get it. Like, you're gaming the system. You're clearly putting your team in the best possible position to win. But just aesthetically, this is really, really tough to watch.
Do you know how bad it has to be? Because you're right. Before, it was Jalen Brunson. Like, he was the flopper guy. He there's clips of him, like, passing up on game winners so he could try and draw fouls and stuff. And you know how bad it has to be when Jalen Brunson isn't on the butt end of that joke anymore?
Yeah.
Like, because it's not just Shai. Like you said, there's guys out there who game the system, like you said. Like, they have that reputation, so they take advantage of it. I don't blame that at all. That's a part of the game. You got to play around it. I completely. It's the fact that the entire Thunder team does it. It's their identity. That's what they do. I can't stand. It's just not fun basketball to watch.
It's not. I mean, everybody talks about the free throw rate. The bigger thing is getting the other team's best players in foul trouble. Like that's always the big thing in college basketball. It's less true in the NBA, but it's still a thing. And they do it very well, but it's also very not fun to watch.
Adam Silver's favorite team, by the way.
Are you going to let this go?
Adam Silver might make up extra draft spots just so the Thunder can have more picks.
Okay. Dave, teacher from Jeffersonville, said, Redbirds night was so fun. The $1 beers did not disappoint, and I got this super cool hat for free. Baseball is officially back. Go Reds. Suck it, Cubs. Sends us a picture. They all got those Redbirds hats are sweet.
Yeah, the hat is cool. Is it?
They sold like 3 different ones at the game when they did Redbirds night.
Okay, I thought it was corduroy.
It has that look.
I thought it would be cooler if it was corduroy.
But they've also got the baby blue, the old school Redbirds uniforms hats with the old school logo that are pretty cool. I've got some old school Redbirds gear. The Redbirds were awesome. That's what I grew up with. But
Bats need to go back to the purple.
see that that's your childhood when the Bats became they were the River Bats and they switched to the Bats and then they had the purple bat logo, which I always thought was strange looking, but it's fine. Bats games are great. Reds did win 2 games in a row over the weekend. If we can just keep us from playing the teams in our own division, then we'll be just fine. Unfortunately, the schedule, I think, requires us to play many games against teams from the NL Central, but against everybody else, we're pretty good. We're feeling good. Here are the numbers, Matt. Against teams from the NL East, Reds are 2-2. Teams from the NL West, the Reds are 4-2. Teams from the American League, the Reds are 15-6. Against teams from the NL Central, 1-9. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable that it carries over from year to year because it's been a thing for the last 5 seasons, and it should not be a mental thing because there's so much turnover from year to year on every Major League Baseball roster, and yet here we are talking about the same thing again. If we can just stay away from our division.
Well, we don't talk baseball on the show. So.
That's right. Well, they've won 2 in a row now, so we talk a little bit. They got the arms going again. We're getting Lodolo pitched well, even though they lost the game. Lodolo looked good.
Is Hunter Green ever going to come back?
July. This is what he does. He calls the shots. Burns pitched well again. Got a great outing yesterday.
I love me some Chase Burns.
He's so good. Bats are starting to heat up just a little bit.
If he can just not tip his pitches, I think he'll be hopefully he's with us for a long time.
He also needs a third pitch at some point. But the 2 pitches that he has right now are awfully good.
That man could give up 7 runs in 1 inning and then strike out a batter with bases loaded and then come off and almost punch somebody in the face.
Yeah.
He's so riled up.
He's intense. I like it. Texas, Matt not being able to swallow. Spit it out, bro. You knew that was coming.
I know.
Texas, don't worry, Matt. I've disappointed a lot of moms in my life, too. Just never disappointed Trevor's mom. That's Trevor's stepdad texting into the show. I'd forgotten all the Trevor's mom guy. He had some really good ones back in the day because he would act like it was a normal text, and then he would work in a reference to Trevor's mom before he officially became known as Trevor's stepdad. And it never failed to make me laugh. And it made Trevor laugh more times than not, too. Texas, my guess at a lineup minutes distribution, I'd love to hear where you disagree. Point guard, Shellstead, 27 minutes, London 5, Ellis 3, Woolley 5. I don't know if Isaac Ellis can play the point. Shooting guard, Woolley 23, Montgomery 17. Small forward, Knox 22, Montgomery 8. Zhang 7, Fulgaris 3. Power forward, Fulgaris 25, Knox 7, Akizi 5, Zhang 3. Badunga 27 at the center, Akizi 10, Dines 3. Yeah, man, I don't know. I love the effort you put into that. I don't know. I don't know how much Carter Knox is going to be playing the 4. I don't know if we're going to ask him to do that. I don't know how much we're going to ask Montgomery to play the 3. But I don't know if Isaac Ellis can play the point at all. I don't know how good London Johnson is. Someone posted a graphic today, and it is fair to bring this up. So when we got London Johnson to commit last year, it's not like we were the only big school that was going after him. Like he had offers from Alabama. He had an offer from North Carolina. He had a bunch of schools that were asking him to join their rosters for last season. and he ultimately picked us. I mean, USC, Virginia, Auburn, all of these schools offered London Johnson. So, like, could they all have been wrong? He's got to at least be capable. But, like, he's also got to be, like, an okay offensive player, right? Like, right? It can't be that bad. I want this guy to be, like, all world. I want London Johnson to be the guy that we're looking back after winning a national title last year, and they're like, they needed somebody to step up and be a star, and it was London Johnson.
What if we come out first game and our, like, not exhibition against Kansas, but, like, our first game against a bye team, and
he's starting.
Shellstead plays, like, 6 minutes, and then London Johnson immediately comes in for, like, 12.
It's possible. It reminds me of way back in the day, there was this kid, Prelu Davis, that everyone thought was going to be the guy that propped up Denny Crum towards the end of his career. And he was a junior college transfer, like number 1 JUCO transfer in America. And he started the first game, and I think everybody was like, he doesn't seem like he's doing that much, and barely ever played the rest of the season. Like that was it. And we had better players behind him. Maybe the same thing will happen this year. Who the hell knows? We never know until we get to the season. Let's take a break. When we come back, more from you guys. We'll check in with YouTube Nation as well. Gameday Men's Health text lines 502-414-1450. We're back after this here on the Big X. I know there's usually a method to your madness with the music.
Not this time. I just like this song.
Oh, you did?
I just like this song.
Have you seen the movie, Michael?
Oh, like I thought you meant like the movie Thriller. I was like, there's a movie Thriller?
No, the movie Michael, which mysteriously ends in 1987.
Yeah, I was saying, no, I haven't, but I did see the big quarrel is that none of the child stuff is in the movie at all.
Yeah. It's,
Conveniently.
Yeah, there's fans seem to be enjoying it. I'm sure I'll see it at some point. By the way, I was getting optimistic about the Reds there before the break. Just across the wire here, Chase Petty exited his start for the Louisville Bats in the fourth inning with a fingernail blister issue. What is going on with the fingernails of these Reds pitchers? We got to get some calluses. We play the guitar, do some, lift some cinder blocks, hang some drywall. We got to get these guys' fingers stronger because everybody's getting blisters on this pitching staff, and it's ruining the damn team. Step it up.
I think we get Roger Williams out there. They won't do a lot of practicing anyway.
Do the Reds want Roger Williams?
Give him some rest.
We can maybe make that happen. My best friend is in Scotland on a golf trip right now. Not jealous at all. Great way to spend Mother's Day. Just him and a few of our other college buddies playing the best courses in Scotland. And he just sent me a video. I mean, he's like, you'll never guess who's on there at like Royal Troon or something right now. He's like, you'll never guess who's playing directly across from us. Bruce Pearl. And then sent me a picture of him just shanking like a wedge. I was like, oh, this made your trip 100% worth it just for me. This video that I will now hold on to with the same value. I know somebody who was an assistant on Tom Crean's staff at Georgia who knew about me making fun of Tom Crean constantly and sent me a video of him getting trucked in practice. Like one time, one of those where it's like, you can never let this see the light of day, but I'm sending this to you. I hold it, if someone stole my phone, I'd be more sad about losing that than I think anything else. That and now this video of Bruce Pearl shanking a wedge. It is the 4 o'clock hour of the Mike Rutherford Show. Matt Childress is here in the house on 1450 and 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. We'll have Bellarmine Baseball for you tomorrow night on our sister station, 970 WGTK. It's the last midweek game of the year, at least of the regular season. Some might say, I don't know, mercifully. But 6 o'clock game tomorrow night. First pitch out there at Jim Patterson Stadium. Tune into our buddy Sean Moth calling all the action over there on 970 WGTK as Louisville. I mean, what do you do if you're Louisville this weekend? Do you? I assume you go into the weekend series against Virginia just saying, I wouldn't throw any of our best arms.
No,
it's all or nothing in the ACC tournament. I get that maybe you could play your way up in seeding, but does it really matter at this point?
I think we put Tank Davis on the mound to see if he can get a draft stock up a little bit.
He did. He has pitched for this team before. I think he had some pitching accolades to him, but maybe we just don't put Tag in any sort of position where he might hurt something. Maybe I don't know, just throw some other position players this weekend, save the arms, because you got to win 4 games to go to the NCAA tournament, and that's your only real shot. But we'll see how Dan McDonald and company handle this. It's been a disappointing year, but maybe they've got some magic left over. 502-414-1450 is the Gameday Men's Health text line. We'll get back to you guys in just a second, but do want to check in on our friends over there at YouTube Nation. Reminder, you can stream every episode of the Mike Rutherford Show. Just go to Big X Sports Radio Louisville, click the live button, and you'll see Matt's handsome face and my ugly mug, and you'll be able to weigh in on the conversation over there. Midwest Reaction says, Mike, you are the biggest Ellis doubter. I don't like that I've become synonymous with this. So I feel like I get an accurate answer from you. Will he be able to play the Ryan McMahon role? I know he isn't going to be a starter. He isn't going to score. Well, then he's not playing the Ryan McMahon role. I think
Ryan McMahon was a literal sniper.
You just answered your own question. Yeah, I mean, I think that people see, let's just call it what it is. People see 6'1" white kid. They see that all of his highlights are basically splashing threes. And I think that there's this whole like, oh, he's the new Rain Smith. He's the new Ryan McMahon. He's the new Isaac McNeely, if McNeely made threes. But the percentages don't really bear that out. He shot like 33% from 3 last year while taking, I think, 13 threes per game. So high volume shooter, low percentage from somebody playing in a league where they don't play a ton of defense. I think that he'll, like that will be the role that he plays when he's out there. But I don't think that he's going to be a top 8-9 contributor on this team. I'm not expecting much from him next season. I mean, this kid's gonna. I hope he doesn't find out about the show because I am rooting for Isaac Ellis to be good. I have doubts about this. Producer Key says, really excited to hear Mike and Matt talk about the huge news that broke over the weekend. F1 engines are going to a 60-40 split. Get those batteries out of my life. Also, I need 5 minutes on the Kings dub. I did watch a solid amount of the Kings game on, was it Saturday or was it yesterday?
It was Saturday.
I remember I had it on the TV during the middle of the afternoon. DC Defenders, supposedly the best team in the UFL. Kings, rock 'em. Probably the best we've looked all season. I'll leave it to the expert, Matt Childress.
Look, I've said it this whole season. Jamie Sharper, if that, he is the one hire that I think that, Chris Redmond knows what he's talking about. Jamie Sharper is a great defensive coordinator. He has that defense humming, even though with the injuries they've sustained this season. Their defensive line is one of the best ones in the UFL. Cam Gill is one of the best pass rushers in the UFL. They're turning guys over at a high rate. They're making these teams uncomfortable. And Chandler Rogers, you can say what you want about his deep ball. He's a great game manager. And, when you rush for your first game of the season over 100 yards, that helps too. Offensive line is still terrible. I don't know what happened. I did talk in the last show last week that, they don't put a lot of pressure on the front line, but at the end of the day, they were able to take advantage of it, and they were able to get a huge win that they really needed. Now, the scary part is they play them again this week at home, which they can't win any games at home. So
I was going to say, this is sort of becoming their Reds playing teams from the NL Central.
Yes.
We still have not won a home game. And if we're going to make a serious run at the playoffs, we're going to have to win a home game. So what better way than to sweep the team that had been leading the entire league?
So we really got really lucky because a lot of the teams that were above us also lost last week. So you're at the point where you don't control your own destiny yet, but if you can win these two back-to-back, if you can win this game at home, then you do. Then you do control your own destiny. You should make the playoffs, barring a complete collapse of losing the last 2 or 3 games.
Well, now, hold on. You're saying we don't control our own destiny, but if we win the next 2, we do. Doesn't that mean that we do control our own destiny?
Yeah.
Controlling your own destiny just means if you win out, you're getting where you need to go.
If we win this week, then yes, if you win out, you win. But if you don't, then you're going to need a lot of help. So technically, this isn't a must-win game because you will need help. But yes, you're right. If you win this game, you win back-to-back.
You're talking yourself into a pretzel right now.
I'm sorry. I'm
trying to throw you a lifeline.
I'm being honest. I'm not confident. I'm just not confident. I like what I saw on Saturday, but they can't get it done at home. I don't know what it is, and there's a curse on this team when they play at home.
Are you the most pessimistic member of the three-man front? Is that the role that you play where you're like, I don't know, guys? Who's the most unbridled enthusiastic between you, Roman?
I'm going to let you guess.
And the other guy, Grant. Roman?
Yes, it's 100% Roman.
Yeah.
So, when we were doing our show this past week, we were giving our predictions.
Well, Roman's also a company man now. I'm sure he feels like he's got to go all in because he didn't want to get fired as the MC.
Well, whenever we were doing our show, the whole thing was, look, I don't think we're going to get blasted or we're going to lose by a lot. I think they cover the spread. I mean, it was 10 points. It'd be embarrassing if they didn't. But there are some ways they can win. Roman was just like, you guys are being too negative. I'm like, Roman, we have 2 wins on the season. We're playing the best team in the league. I don't know what you want from me. But he convinced me. They have a chance to do it.
Well, at least he was right. Sounds like it. I mean, he was. The optimism paid off last weekend. They looked good over the weekend.
Maybe I don't go to this game and see what happens.
Maybe. Producer Key says, also, hoops tomorrow at 6. Mike, are you in? I will be picking my daughter up from dance class.
You got the invite.
Even if I wanted to play, there's no time I could fit it in. Also, it's a tough ask, too, at this point in my life where I haven't played basketball in such a long time to just, I'm like, hey, Mary, can you take care of the kids tonight? I'm playing pickup basketball with my 25-year-old coworker friends. She'd be like, well, you're not. That's absolutely. She'd be like, you're an idiot. You're going to tear an ACL and wreck the entire summer for the family. And she'd probably be right. Doc, my guy, says, it was a pleasure meeting you on Saturday, Mike. I met Doc. He's not Jacob Lane.
Are you sure you didn't meet Jacob Lane and think it was Doc?
Now I'm confused. Now I'm not 100% sure. But I did. I met Doc. We have kids that are both playing T-ball over at St. Matthews. So I think he was going to a game. I was leaving John's game. Shout out to the Blue Jays. They tied yet again, Matt. They're tying everybody. John, still 1,000%.
Why are we letting kids tie?
Well, it's T-ball. every kid hits, and then every kid just runs the base.
This is why these kids aren't competitive nowadays.
They're 4.
They start them early.
They start keeping score at 6. So he's got one
They're
more.
not even keeping score?
They're not keeping score. Everybody scores. Everybody hits.
I hope you're not paying for this.
Nobody's ever actually out.
See, I would be the parent screaming like on the field. Be like, this is not. There is no score. We scored 5 runs. They scored 3.
Yeah,
this is not a tie.
Okay, when you see the actual level of competition here, I think you'll agree. Keeping score would be an absolute disaster. Nobody ever gets anybody out. It's a minor miracle if it happens. But I was the kid growing up when I started playing YMCA sports, when I was a little bit older than John, where I just demanded that my dad secretly keep score, and I would just constantly ask him like, what's the score right now? Like what do we? I didn't like the ties. I wouldn't take the ties. We'll see how John feels about it moving forward, but. Right now, the Blue Jays.
We're building a bunch of wussies out there.
We're 0-5, I believe. No wins, no losses, 5 ties. Tied with everybody else in the league. But I did get to meet Doc. He was like, I had a bunch of people tell me that I was. I never said that he was Jacob Lane. I just thought that Jacob Lane was one of the guys that was like in charge of the 1912 Society. And now I know it's Matt McGavick, Doc, and Schultze. See, I'm never going to forget again. But it was a pleasure meeting Doc. Very nice guy. LM Card says, if we get a commitment from Zhang, is he viewed as a contributing player next season or a depth developmental piece? I think he's both. I mean, I think you can be a depth piece but also be a contributor. I think he'll play. I think that he's got a good range of skills. He's 6'7", can do a little bit of everything. I don't think anybody knows where to rank him in this class either because he just came to America a year ago. He didn't get a full run on the AAU circuit. You didn't see him play like EYBL or any of the stuff that plays the biggest part in these recruiting rankings. You've just seen him play a high school season where he looked pretty damn good. So I don't think anybody knows really what to expect from him, but you look at the tape and it's, his Chinese national team tape is awfully impressive. I think that he would help us next season. I don't think he'd be a starter. I don't think he'd be a guy that would average 20 plus minutes, but I do think he would be a contributor next season. Texter says, A2 Atlantic says, how crazy is it that St. Mary's got their highest rated recruit after Randy Bennett leaves? Yeah, they got the kid who was like 42nd in the class today. I mean, yeah, they've got money to throw around right now. Bennett was more about going after international players and then lower level recruits that he could develop over time. And now he's got more money to work with at Arizona State, but St. Mary's maybe trying a different recruiting approach now if they've been left behind by Gonzaga. Greg says, what's the likelihood of Badunga staying in the draft? I think it's very low. Very low. Another YouTube comment, my prediction is that Josh Hurd wins the Lee School tournament. I think that you have a vocal minority on social media that is being very critical of Josh Hurd just because of the uncertainty of the situation now and moves that are being made because of this weird time in college sports. I'm not saying that Josh Hurd's the most popular guy in the city of Louisville, but I think most people are somewhere in the middle where it's like for instance, last week when we find out that Rocco Gasparo, who I really like, has been let go after 23 years as the SID at U of L, you do have some people out there who are like, this is ridiculous. Like, Josh, this is you can't treat people like this. And then you have a handful of other people who are like, well, hold on, I hate it for Rocco, but at the end of the day, it's business, and we got to drum up money for NIL. And if you want to see us continue to get all these players, there are going to be things that have to happen behind the scenes. So I think it's a little bit more nuanced than just everybody's mad at Josh right now. And it's not like Louisville athletics is in shambles. People are very excited about the athletic season coming up. Baseball's been a little bit of a disaster, but hope is very high for football. Hope is clearly very high for men's basketball. I think the women's basketball team is going to be phenomenal. So, the AD is never going to be the least popular guy in town when the teams that he's most responsible for are set up for success. Alan says, if I were to rename the LCP tournament in dishonor of someone, should it be the Kenny Payne or the Andre McGee Memorial Least Cool Person Tournament? It's a great question. I think the best way to answer it is Kenny Payne's the only person we've ever had whose reign of uncoolness was so dominant in an athletic year that we didn't even have a tournament. We just turned the tournament in 23-24 to a tournament of Kenny Payne things. McGee, granted, existed at a time where there was a lot more uncool things happening. I think it ended up being Andre McGee versus Katina Powell for the least cool person championship that year. Days that we don't like to remember, but nobody dominated a year like Kenny Payne dominated. I think it would have to be Kenny Payne. Darnock says, Nat, quote, I think college baseball goes until mid-July. Childress could definitely be nominated for the LCPT. I mean, I wasn't going to say anything. You're way off.
I thought maybe I am.
Yeah, it's like the World Series championship series. I think at the very earliest or at the very latest ends like late June, first days of July.
When does high school baseball end?
Depends on where you are in the country. I mean, here locally, it's like I think the district tournaments will start this week, and then region tournaments after that, and state tournament the week after that. So it never goes past early June here locally. But one of the weirdest things that I ever encountered when I worked in Iowa for a summer during college, their high school baseball season started in like late May. So I mean, you've got kids that would graduate and then start their last high school baseball season like a week later. And so they're playing, for a school that they graduated from 2 months ago, and like they're closer to starting college than they are their last high school class, and they're still repping their high school. Like that would have felt weird for me. Like I still vividly remember my senior year. I know graduations are happening across the community. Congrats to all the college grads from over the weekend. I think high school graduations are happening this week. But I didn't feel like my high school graduation happened when I was in the middle of, I think, like district tournament was happening. So I still felt very much like a high school student. It was just kind of like, I'm still, this is what I've been working for the last, year just to get to this point. So it didn't feel like it was the end of an era for me just yet. I also had, this was younger Mike time. So we played in the district tournament. Our district back in the day was just 3 teams. It was just us, Atherton, and Seneca. And we played Atherton in the first round of district. And I pitched, so I knew I wasn't going to play. I think at that point, they had moved me like at the end of the season to like just pitching because I was not hitting well. And so I pitched. We had a grad party that night at my buddy's house. I did not sleep. I went straight from the party to my house and then to practice. Practice, just like passed out when I got home from practice. And then we had the district championship game the next day, which we won. It was a great time to be alive. Oh, to be 18 again. It was you could handle stuff like that. If I tried that now, I'd be gone for a week. I'd pass out.
Hoop with the guys on tomorrow. Maybe you can feel that way.
That's how I need to revisit the past. I need to start playing pickup basketball with you, Roman, and producer Keith. YouTube chat continues. Jeremy says, didn't Dan Furman say last week that we're still involved with a couple of transfers who are contemplating going pro? He did say that. I think that one of the players in question was Juke Harris, because that was the party line kind of at the time was if Juke Harris plays college basketball, it's going to be for us. I think they all thought it. Now, I think were hoping to keep a lot of their thoughts tight-lipped. Unfortunately for us, Juke Harris is going to play college basketball, and it's not going to be for us. He ended up committing to Tennessee. So I don't know. I mean, there are only a couple of players that description could apply to, and I think that Harris was one. I think that they thought, they had contact with Momcilovic before, but my understanding is that it's not likely that he would play for us if he did come back to college, but who knows?
We just got to get him on Kentucky's campus.
I do know that Dan said that. I think a lot of people ran. I'm not sure if that wound up being accurate. Chauncey Billups said, I was thinking T. Will, but he was 11th. He was. Babu says, Mike, have you ever seen an old basketball movie called One-on-One? I have. If so, tell me we don't have our Henry Steele with Isaac Ellis all the way up with the red hot poker I can play whenever I want. He does. I think, yeah. People try to make that same comparison with David Levitch back in the day, but I could see it. Ryan Keeling said, I think it was Hatfield that said, big secure your floor, guards create your ceiling, all eyes on Shellstead and Woolley. Yeah, I mean, as good as the big man revolution was in college basketball last year, the teams that were most synonymous with having elite front courts also had really good guards, at least the ones that went deep in the NCAA tournament. Everybody talks about Arizona with Koa Pete and their vaunted front court. They also had Braden Burris, who's going to be a top 10 pick or top 15 pick in the NBA draft, who was a very good guard. Oh, and by the way, Jaden Bradley, who was the Big 12 Player of the Year at guard. Michigan, they had crazy good size on the inside. They won the national title, and Elliot Cadeau was the most outstanding player of the Final Four. The point guard was really good, and they got great guard play throughout the NCAA tournament. You've got to have good guard. I mean, you have to have great guard play if you want to be elite. And for us, it seems like Jackson Shelstead and Adrian Woolley are probably going to be the first two guys that get the crack at being that elite backcourt, and hopefully they're ready to handle it. Pruchaki says, random question, who is viewed more favorably by Louisville fans right now, Michael or Karan Davis? Probably Michael. Is that a hot take?
I don't think it's a hot take.
I mean, I don't think people have a favorable or unfavorable viewing of Karan Davis. I think they just think it's funny. I don't think there's anybody who's like, I hate Karan Davis. I mean, his popularity skyrocketed when people thought that he punched Kenny Payne. Like that's all you need to know. If the news came out that big rumor about Karan Davis fist fighting Kenny Payne wound up being proven true, which I don't think it ever was, his popularity would skyrocket. But as of right now, it's just kind of like he was emblematic of how weird the Payne era was. And then last one, Tig, my guy, says, wait, did you say you think Flory will stay in the draft? No. I said I think it's a very slim possibility that I'll stay in the draft. That was the question. That was my answer. Gameday Mens Health text line 502-414-1450. Hexler, you sent in something that could not be processed. It says, sorry, you sent in a picture, did not come through. Try to send it again. Texter says, streaming through the app is awful today, breaking up and not on at all right now. Try the YouTube.
I texted Glenn about it. He says he's listening. Hasn't texted me back, so I'm guessing it's okay right now.
Mary said the stream was bad on Friday. She never uses the YouTube chat. She uses the old school stream, and she said it was pretty bad on Friday. Texas, we finally have our go-to bucket getter, Mike. I can't imagine Shelstad is happy that we are bringing in such a stud to take over starting point guard duties. On a scale of squishy to raging, where is your boner? I don't like the way that you phrase that. People know how I feel about the Isaac Ellis recruitment. Lukewarm at best. It doesn't mean that I don't love him now that he's a Cardinal. I'm hoping the best for him. I think it's weird that was prioritized, but maybe he can help us. Texas, as the post-lottery mocks drafts drop, are we Flory staying in the draft worried at all? Feel like there's been a little talk locally, but I've seen him mocked as high as like 22 overall. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen anybody that has him that high. I've got Jeremy Wu has him going 41st overall. I'm going to see what NBA mocked. Let's see what NBA.com. NBA.com has him not going in the first round. I mean, I think that he is. People have these stories out about the biggest stay or go decisions, and it's the same handful of players every time. Koa Pete's probably the biggest one. Tyler Tanner's another bigger one. Ruben Chinielu from Florida. Everybody thinks he's going to come back, but he still is technically deciding. Flory's on some of those lists. Almost everybody says it would be a shock if he came back.
If he didn't come back, you mean?
If he didn't come back, thank you.
You almost scared like.
I know. Once again, people just turning into the show like, what? Okay, let's just explore then, for the sake of exploring. If Flory Badunga did stay in the NBA draft, I don't think the question is like, are we screwed? It's how screwed are we, right?
I guess it would mean, you're relying on
an 18-year-old freshman who was about to play high school basketball before 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, to be basically a lottery pick next season at the center position, which I'd say is not likely.
Yeah, I don't think you have a pivot.
With your backup as Gabe Dines.
Right.
I mean, you're going to have length.
Maybe
not any girth.
The girth takes a sizable hit if you lost Flory Badunga. The only other thing that you could do is, I guess, go kind of small and play like Fulgaris at the 5, and then you run the risk of being in the exact same position that you were a year ago, without having what you thought was going to be your trump card in that great outside shooting. Yeah, I mean, this should not go. This should go without saying. We signed the number one player from the transfer portal. We clearly prioritized him above everybody else. We need him to play for Louisville next season.
If for some reason right now he was like, I'm going to go to stay in the draft, I think even though it's not something you desperately need, you just take the Flory Badunga money and just try and lock or Pope one more time.
Just take Momchilovich?
You just take Momchilovich.
What if we got Malachi Moreno?
You just take both.
Moreno's coming back to school, and he's transferring to Louisville. Yeah, you'd have to do something. It would be that would take you from, I think, a solid top 10, top 15 team to you'd have conversations about, do you even belong at the back end of the top 25? It'd be tough. It'd be very tough. Let's take a break. When we come back, hour number 3 is upon us. We have a weird story to kick off the hour. We have more texts from you guys. We got some predictions for the night ahead in sports. Keep it locked right here. Hour number 3 next here on 1450 and 96.1 The Big X. 5:03 of the Monday edition of the Mike Rutherford Show, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Reminder, if you've been hurt in an accident or on the job, it can be a confusing time. The Collier Law Firm, though, they got you covered. Their decades plus of experience speaks for itself. They all have, all the attorneys over there, not just our guy Tony, have years of experience working for the insurance companies. That means they've got their playbook. They know how to use it. Visit CollierLawFirm.com for all the details and all the services that the Collier Law Firm provides. COLYER lawfirm.com. Hurt in an accident or hurt on the job, Collier Law Firm. Matt Childress is here. Matt, you'd be very proud of a tweet that I sent earlier today.
Okay, I would.
So there's a baseball account called Bourbon Investments, which is pointing out that, remember, you're familiar with Cal Raleigh, correct?
Yes.
The big dumper.
Big dumper.
Had an incredible year last year. He is not having an incredible year right now for the Seattle Mariners. And they've pointed out they're starting a Cal Raleigh tracker because he's currently hitting 152 as an everyday player. And the all-time record for worst batting average amongst qualified hitters in a season is 168 by Chris Davis in 2018. And they're all like, ooh, we're starting this tracker. Like, can he actually do it? And I responded to that tweet with the meme of Yoda saying,
Oh, okay.
There is another Skywalker. He doesn't actually say it, but and then an image of Key Brian Hayes and his season stats where he's hitting 139 as an everyday player. So I posted that, got some love, and I was like, Matt would be proud of me. Star Wars.
I
properly applied.
We're gaining virginity by the hour.
Man, that's what we do. I've also got this story that I want to get to. This is from the golf subreddit, and I want to get your thoughts on this. This guy says, I'm posting this because, first of all, Matt, I don't think we even know. How much do you play golf?
I try. Right now, I play like once a month, unfortunately. I was playing like 2 or 3 times a week last year. Like, I just had more
that's
time.
Still more than me.
But, yeah, right now I'm playing like once a month, if it's possible.
Yeah, I've played once this year. We'll see if I can get round 2 scheduled anytime soon. But this guy said, I'm posting this because I think it's funny, but maybe I'm a tool. I don't know. My local course is running a summer pass this year that runs from May 1st to October 1st. It's $1,499, $1,499, and you get unlimited golf and range balls with the exception of no tee times before 10 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday, which is fine. I'm a single dude. I work from home, and I've got little to no responsibilities in life. I'm addicted to golf. I bought the pass on May 1st and have played 18 holes before work every day except the weekend. Today when I checked in, the pro shop, who is the same 2 guys every morning, told me that while the pass is unlimited for the duration, they were worried it was getting abused. I initially laughed because I was like, WTF, dude, I paid and it's unlimited. But then he doubled down and told me that they may have to introduce some restrictions. I did the math after my round, and I've played nearly $800 worth of golf. So I'm going to break even on the pass by the end of May and basically play free golf from June 1st to October 1st. I'm not worried. I'm still going to take advantage of it. But am I a huge tool for abusing the hell out of this? Am I the a-hole?
No.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely
right? Like you can't run the pass and then get mad when you don't make money off of it.
Yeah, you can't sit here and you can't offer somebody something and then when they actually use it, be angry they used it. Like, I get that they're going for the whole like gym membership deal, where it's like they're banking on you not playing that much golf.
Right.
But it's like, okay, I mean, you paid for it. Like, you're not going to you're not going to bat 1,000. Some people are going to abuse it. You just got to take the L on some things.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not his fault.
It's like the unlimited breadsticks at Fazoli's. At some point, you got to know that there's a risk that some dude's going to walk in there and call you on the unlimited terminology, and he's just going to sit there and eat 55 breadsticks. It might happen. If so, this is the business model that you've set up. Now, would I feel awkward going in every single day and seeing the same 2 guys every morning while I played 18 holes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Sure. But if I'm him and I'm unattached,
I paid for it.
I paid the money. I paid you $1,500. I'm going to get my money's worth out of it. I'll deal with the awkwardness. I'm going to go play golf every day. I don't think this guy's in the wrong at all. More power to him.
How much money are they losing by letting this one guy play golf, by the way?
Right. I mean, so he's on pace to say get his money back, he said, by the end of May. So he still would have June, July, and August and September. Okay, so I mean, they may lose like $4,000 on this one guy.
But golf is so overpriced.
It is.
Anyway, like there's no way one person doing this is causing that much of a problem. Because there's plenty of people that probably have the pass that are using it the way they intended to, and they're making money on it.
But the point, I mean, when you set up these types of deals, you're essentially daring the public. Like, we don't think that you can do this. You know, people have, like, the food passes. Like, we don't think that you can eat at the Olive Garden every day for a month. And every now and then you meet a hero who's like, boy, I got all the time in the world and zero shame. I'm going to the Olive Garden every damn day. And then, you know, those are the people that you open yourself up to when you put out these kinds of deals. You've got to know that there's a potential for some golf sicko with way too much time on his hand to get $4,000 over on you. That's, you know, don't do the deal if you're that concerned about it. Come on. And I bet they make money off, because almost everybody that takes on these types of deals, they don't get their money's worth. So you make, you know, a couple $100 on every other person. They'll probably they may not make as much money as they'd like to. This isn't going to kill them. I would sue if they're like, you can't play as much as you want. Like, no, that's the deal. There's fine print. You can't put restrictions in after the deal was already signed. I also wanted to ask about, did you happen to see, you probably didn't, but the Lane Kiffin story in Vanity Fair
I did
today.
see it.
This is nuts.
I didn't get to read the whole thing, but I saw the tweet that they posted today.
Sure. I mean, he's got several comments where the quotes speak pretty loudly, but the one that's been shared the most is very, I think, obviously the most kind of like, ooh, your eyes bulge a little bit when you're reading it. He was asked about the famous decision now to leave Ole Miss for LSU while Ole Miss was chasing a national championship, and he never brought up the problematic, I guess, past of Ole Miss and some of the racial undertones there, like, while he was the head coach. But he's very much not afraid to bring it up now. He said, you know, when he was coaching at Ole Miss, top recruits would tell me, hey, coach, we really like you, but my grandparents aren't letting me move to Oxford, Mississippi. That doesn't come up when you say Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Parents were sitting here this weekend saying the campus's diversity feels so great. Quote, it feels like there's no segregation. Said he had trouble, being able to distance himself from the Confederate flag, the Colonel Rebel, the nickname Ole Miss itself, all of this stuff. One, I don't really buy that any of this played a huge part in his decision to leave Ole Miss from LSU. He's leaving Ole Miss for LSU because LSU is the stronger overall program. It gives him a better chance to compete for national titles more consistently. And, you know, when you're a new head coach, you inherently have a stronger run of success coming up and more job security than you do, even if you're coming off of a really successful season at a place like Ole Miss. That's why he made the decision. But he's bringing race and the Confederacy into this, Matt. This is we already kind of know this guy gives no bleeps about what other people think about him. But my God, if the LSU Ole Miss games weren't going to be mandatory viewing before this, I hope they play every single year.
Yeah, he's trying to bring Ole Miss down to the ground. Like, I mean, he's not wrong. And I mean, there is the pass behind Ole Miss,
sure.
And
there's also a pass for LSU.
Yeah,
though.
It's just one where. Did you read the replies of some of the tweet?
Where everybody bringing up where the nickname Tigers comes from?
Yeah, and then there were some people being like, "This is the same guy who benched a black athlete for hooking up with his daughter or whatever."
And then
boosting the NIL for the white guy that hooked up with his daughter.
I saw that too. I mean, they are correct. The Tigers nickname was not originally about the animal. It was about the Louisiana Tigers regiment in the Confederate Army, and that's where it came from. They also used Tiger rifles back in the day, so there is some direct relation between the Confederate Army and LSU athletics. But I don't think Kiffin's going to be talking about that anytime soon. It's just and by the way, in case you were curious, LSU Ole Miss in Oxford, September 19th. week 3 of the college football season. I mean, I couldn't be more excited for a game that I had no interest in 12 months ago. That's going to be mandatory viewing. It's just the whole story is just crazy.
Lane Kiffin's he's a one of a kind of man.
He always kind of has been. He's also gone from the, he was in a Lil Wayne lyric 20 years ago. Smoke weed, talk bleep like Lane Kiffin. Like, he was synonymous with being a personality before he was synonymous with being an actual winning coach. He just kept falling up. Tennessee, USC, Raiders, and just never got the job done the way that people expected him to. And then finally gets a second chance. He goes to Florida Atlantic for that, or Florida International, one of the Floridas down there, and then gets a second chance. And this is the first time in his career where he's really been viewed as a guy that's like one of the best overall coaches in the sport. Everyone knew he was good, but a lot of his tenures were disappointing, and they were more known for the stuff that he was doing off the field than what he was doing on the field. And now he's kind of got I'm talking smack, I'm a huge personality. Also, I'm winning everywhere I go. I'm chasing national titles. That wasn't around 10, 15, 20 years ago. He's certainly a fascinating figure, but that story, man, throwing gasoline on a fire, for sure. I also was going to bring up a story that turned out to not be true. Did you see the story about the waitress who was arrested for locking a table of 8 inside a private dining room because they gave a $0 tip on a $784 check?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it was a great story.
But I would have locked him in there as well.
But it's fake. It was a great story, ended up being completely fake. We have an AI Facebook story, I guess an AI Instagram story there. They're also – so they keep using the same picture for all these fake stories. Like, that one was fake. And then there was another story about it's this very attractive woman posing for what appears to be a mugshot. And then there was a story about a Florida woman who's detained after attempting to sell homemade wine out of a cooler at a children's soccer game. And unfortunately, they're going to keep getting people with these stories all the time.
So is this the new version of the whole, the Eminem going to Oprah Winfrey?
Yes.
Stories that we kept. It was Eminem one time. Then I think there was another one I saw that was like Denzel Washington doing it.
They had everybody going on The View. Remember they had a Mark Pope one.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't know about the problems that our kids have in the real world. And all. Like, everybody's been on The View in these fake Facebook stories. And every, boomer is just like, yeah, go get them. And you're like, oh, my God, we have no hope as a society. But now the new model is you put a attractive woman doing something that, again, selling wine out of a homemade cooler at Little League games, and she had, the Divorcee Rose as a name, and every response is like, I can fix her. This is the perfect woman. These are the new things that they're doing, and then it comes out that they're fake every time. Every time. We're doomed. We're doomed as a society.
Antivirus is coming in to level it out.
God, we really need to win national title in basketball this year. This is the year we got to make playoff before everything just officially goes to hell. Let's enjoy some fun sports moments. Speaking of, we'll enjoy with you at 502-414-1450. That is the Gameday Mens Health text line. If you have thoughts, let us know. We have a lot of texts to get to. We'll do the best to get to all of them today on this Monday edition of the show. And if we don't, you know what? We have Dalton Pence coming in here for 90 more minutes. He can read some text as well. Texter says, am I the only one who thinks that Michael going top 10 benefits Louisville and Coach Kelsey? I believe that draft day hug is going to be beneficial. Let's hope he can be another good ambassador for Louisville like Donovan. I mean, it's clearly
on paper, yeah.
It's a good thing for Louisville, but I do think it comes with. It's tough for us as a fan base seeing him go top 10 and knowing how little we got out of it. So, okay, let me ask you. I saw this floating around Twitter earlier today, and I hadn't really thought about it. But do we think that Pat Kelsey is at the draft?
Yes. I think he will be.
I mean, do you think he gets invited, though, is the thing?
Oh, I mean.
Because that's kind of Michael's call, who he wants at his table.
I mean, he has done nothing but defend Michael throughout his entire tenure at Louisville this year, so I would imagine he gives him the call.
I think no. I don't think he's going to be there. I think that they'll paint it as, well, he was out there doing a recruiting thing, or he's busy with the team. But I don't think that it's going to be. I think Pat Kelsey has a good relationship with Michael Brown. I don't think they're overly tight. And I do think that Pat Kelsey has a strained relationship with other people in Michael's camp. I don't know if the relationship is at a point now where he'll be there and it'll be like Michael Brown drafted 8th overall and he hugs his dad and then he bro hugs Pat Kelsey and then he goes up there. Like, I don't think that it's going to be that thing. Like, Calipari used to, like, that was his day. He was making sure he was on camera for every player that got picked. He was over there giving him the biggest hug. He's faking tears. I don't know if we're going to get that opportunity for Pat Kelsey. If we do, though, that's a good thing.
I think if he doesn't at least invite him, then that's a bad look on Mike Hill and his camp.
Well, I don't think they care. Honestly, I don't. Texas, I think Ellis comes in and competes right away. I just hope that Will Hankey is up for the challenge. Love Will Hankey.
I think he will be.
I called him Cole Hankey earlier today, and I feel terrible about it. That's my fault.
6'10" Will Hankey over there.
I got Cole Sherman in the mind. Yeah, Will Hankey, 6'3" power forward. That's our guy. Texas Mike, any intel scoops on the bevy of local high school talent and where Louisville stands with them currently? I mean, I know they're recruiting a handful of those guys heavily. I mean, they're obviously very aware of Jordan Mitchell, who I hope. My thing is I hope all these kids stay at Louisville for the duration of their high school careers. I don't think they will because that hasn't been the trend recently. But it would be cool to see all these guys do. I mean, we've got great battles going on right now between, the 7th region has been so loaded. The Ballard and Mail and X and Trinity's. They had the kid who ended up transferring back in at the end of the year. He was a 4-star player. We've had high-level talent in this area for what feels like the first time at this type of level in like 10, 15 years. And you hope that continues. I think that, we've recruited all the St. X kids well, which, by the way, they have another one who I think is going to be a big-time prospect coming in next year in I think it's Wade Houston's grandson. I don't think it's Allen's kid, but I think it's one of his other grandchildren. And he is very, very good, apparently. We'll recruit him. We'll recruit, Mitchell, some people say, is a tweener. I think that the staff apparently really likes him. I think he can really play, just from the little bit that I've seen. Who's the kid from Martin? Braxton Keithley. I know Kentucky wants him. I think that we're doing the best that we can on that front as well. I think that we could be a player. I know that you're talking about Louisville kids, but I think that we could be a player for one of the better kids out in the state. And then that 28 class is probably the one that's the most loaded. You've got Lindsey from St. X, who I think he's a D1 athlete right now. If he is not going to grow a lot, which he's like 6 foot right now, he's probably going to have to develop a little bit better of an outside shot. But you can see why he's ranked very high. The athleticism is ridiculous. The other kid that I think is probably not talked about enough right now that I do think Louisville is in a good spot with, or a decent spot with, is Boogie Cook, who played for Christian Academy, tried to transfer to Ballard, I guess didn't get cleared, and then went back to Christian Academy. I think he's still set to play. This is how weird high school basketball is now. I think he's still set to play for Christian Academy next season, but I don't know if he'll try to transfer again. He'll be a junior next year. He's very good, and I think that Louisville feels like they're in a decent spot with his recruitment. He's not rated as high as Josh Lindsey is, but he can really play. And like I said, Jordan Mitchell can really play as well. I think that it's still early in the cycle for all these kids besides Braxton Keithley, who's 27, but I think they feel like they're in a decent position. Texter says, this is Ball Knower. He accidentally sent in a blank text. We had this. Oh, is this happening on Text Groove again? Oh, it is. We've got a handful of people that are sending in texts that just aren't coming through. Get Glenn back on the phone, Matt. Glenn's got to fix this. This is a thing that was happening like a year ago. We got it all fixed out, and now it's not happening. So, Ball Knower, you have to send your text in again. Let's go. Texas, remember, I'm here for the Rain game. How about I'm here for the Zhang game? Damn right. I originally did that for Dwayne Sutton. I'm here for the Dwayne game. And then I think there was another one. The Dang game was the original one, Dang Adele. And then I did it for Dwayne game, and then it was Rain game. If that is how you pronounce the young man's last name, I 100% will be bringing this meme back for Boron Zhang. Matt, are you familiar with Old School?
Like the movie Old School
The
Will
movie
Ferrell?
Old School, yes. When the guy who actually directs it, it's his cameo, where he shows up at the front door and it's like, I'm here for the gangbang. That's the image that I've used for that meme for a long time. It's very funny. I think so, at least. Chris the Plumber's texted in, for the love of God, Mike, put your mask on. It'll save you. It would help. Text says, what's the hentai virus? It's a good text. Ohio guy says, unless Dan McDonald is going to take a hometown discount, Josh Hurd should go ahead and announce that he won't be coming back and hire whoever the best mid-major manager is. I mean, I feel like we've had the same conversation about McDonald now like 5 times in the last 5 years, and I'm shocked that we're having it now. I thought that the College World Series trip last year would, at the very least, give us one season where it's like, all right, he's our guy. We can get the new contract done at the end of the 26th year. And unfortunately, he hasn't done the bare minimum to keep that conversation away because this team has been a massive disappointment. I think it's unquestionable. It's the biggest disappointment of his career here at Louisville. If you got rid of him, they've been talking for a long time. The buzz has sort of been Skylar Meade is the guy that they would like to bring in. He played here, grew up here. I mean, again, admittedly, I consider him a friend. We grew up together playing. He's a really, really good guy. I don't know if that would just 100% be the call that they would make. I don't think they've really thought about it. He's not maybe as hot a commodity as he was a couple of years ago. Troy's not having as good of a season as they did the last couple of years. They've narrowly missed the NCAA tournament last season. I think they're going to have to win the Sun Belt this year to make the NCAA tournament. So I don't know if there's a bona fide, can't miss, up-and-coming coach that you feel like you would bring in to replace Dan outside of Skylar. I know that it's becoming more of like, the World Series trip is the outlier season because we've missed the NCAA tournament 4 times in 6 years. I still just have a hard time parting ways with Dan McDonald after he essentially built the program into what it is. When there was no history before he got here, I know that 20 years ago was a long time now. But my God, we've been to 6 College World Series? That's a program that had not been to more than one NCAA tournament before he got the job. And we're talking about, kicking him out after, a year after he went to the College World Series. I get that it's complicated because his contract runs out now. But I just can't see a world where you don't give him at least one more year. He's built the program. They just went to the CWS. This year has been inexcusable. I get it, and I get that it's not a total outlier, that we've missed the NCAA tournament 4 times in 6 years. We haven't been the same program since COVID. We have not adapted with the times or whatever you want to see. I just feel like if you get rid of Dan, you run a real risk of Louisville baseball falling off the face of the earth and just never getting back to where we've been for the last 20 years, where we're expecting postseason runs, and we're shocked when we're not ranked in the top 15 or the top 20, unless we're willing to dedicate a ton of resources to whoever the new guy is. It's a really complicated situation. I hate it. I wish we were just at the bare minimum good, like NCAA tournament good this year, just so we didn't have to have this conversation, but unfortunately we have not held up that end of the bargain. Texter says, this is Red Zeppelin, everyone knows what the problem is with Louisville baseball. Will a change be made? Probably not. I mean, I think you have to. I mean, it's
unacceptable.
It's absolutely unacceptable, but it's so complicated with Dan and Roger's relationship and the fact that Dan feels like Roger was overly loyal to him during the first decade of their career here at Louisville, passing up on a number of head coaching opportunities, and he feels like, I'm sure Dan is like, I would feel like a terrible person to not uphold my end of the bargain. I think the great friend thing to do, if you're Roger Williams, is to walk away and just say, look, I'm up there. I've been coaching for a long time. Clearly the game has maybe passed me by. It would make things a lot easier on both U of L and Dan McDonald if he just walked away, because he's been paid a lot of money to be the top assistant for Louisville baseball, and he's very clearly not getting it done when it comes to the pitching staff. There's just no way around it. Our numbers for the last 5 years as a pitching staff have been abysmal. Even last year, we were more offensive driven when it mattered the most than pitching and defense. And this year has been absurd. I think we were like 189th in the country in ERA 2 years ago. We're almost as bad this year. And we've got guys that are getting worse from where they were at the end of last season, guys that we were planning on relying on this year that just have not looked the same as they did 12 months ago. At a certain point, the coaching has to be the thing that you point to and say that's the problem here. So I think that, Josh, he's either going to have to give Dan an ultimatum and say, like, you got to get rid of this guy, or he's going to have to hope that Roger steps up and does the best thing for all parties concerned and walks away from the game. Good luck. It's just that it's going to be a very interesting and I think probably dramatic few weeks at U of L with the baseball program. Let's take a break. When we come back, 5 o'clock hour is all that we've got left. We'll run through the text line. We'll answer some questions. We'll make some predictions for the night ahead in sports, and then we'll hand things off to Dalton Pence. It's the Rutherford Show. Wrapping up next here on the Big X.
Pretty decent.
This is my favorite Destiny's Child song. This is a good one.
This is a good one.
Great one.
I can't sit here and tell you that I could just list Destiny's Child songs by name.
I can. I absolutely can. I mean, Jumpin'.
Yes,
It's still a bang. Ladies, leave your man at home. The club is full of ballers and the pocket's full grown. I like the early Destiny's Child. When they got into the bootylicious stuff, that was a little bit too much. That was when you could tell Beyonce was just like she was gone. She was gonna head out. But the early, like Get on the Bus, Jumpin', Say My Name, those were independent women. Those were that's my Destiny's Child era. The one exception, I didn't like the Survivor era. I did really like the what's the oh god, what's the song that I'm forgetting about? The one that like my favorite Destiny's Child song besides the two that I've already mentioned. I'm completely Lose My Breath. Can you keep up, baby boy? Make me lose my breath. Matt doesn't know.
It's a great group. It sounds even better coming from Mike Rutherford. I mean,
5 o'clock hour here on the Mike Rutherford Show, 1450, 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Matt Childress is here. Give a follow on Twitter at @mchildress__. We've got NBA basketball tonight. It is Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs looking to even the series against the Pistons. That's an 8 o'clock tip-off on NBC and Peacock. The Thunder will look to sweep the Lakers at 10:30 on Prime Video. And then the Rutherford household, the big game of the night, the only NHL game of the night, the Avs, looking to bounce back from their first loss of the playoffs. They're taking on Minnesota in Minnesota at 8 o'clock on ESPN. Got a little interesting on Saturday. They got, for the first time in the playoffs, didn't just get tested. They got their ass handed to them a little bit. Let's see if they can bounce back tonight. We'll make some predictions for those games at the end of this segment. But for now, we want to get through all your texts on the Gameday Mens Health text line, 502-414-1450. You got about 20 minutes left to have what's on your mind heard on the radio. Texter says, it's Papa J, our most positive texter here. Mike and Matt, a little friendly ribbing. Oh, God, he goes right to the ribbing after I say he's so positive. Can't believe where the St. Louis Cards are right now in the Central. Come on. The Reds are on the bottom. All the Central teams are above 500. It won't last as we are a couple of years away from dominating the Central again. I do believe the Reds are the best in the division, and I pray for the downfall of the Cubs. You guys are the best. Have a great rest of your show. Go Cards. Love you, Papa J. We love you too, Papa J. I don't think the Reds are the best team in the division. I don't. I think you're right about the Cardinals. I think they'll come back down to earth. I unfortunately think the Cubs are – they should have the best team in the division. I think we're going to be okay. I think we'll pursue a playoff spot, but – we got to have some of these guys that are hitting 170 start to hit the baseball. At some point, that's got to happen. Texas Matt, do you own a calculator with your name on it?
I do not. I used to.
So you probably weren't listening to the show at this point. Are you familiar with the story of Trevor taking the ACT for the show?
No.
So Trevor, who at the time I believe was a 44-year-old man, overweight, unkempt at times, he signed up and took the ACT as a bid on the show. This was his commitment to Mike Rutherford show.
He just did it just to do it.
Yeah, we talked about it. It came up during a conversation about punishments for somebody who finished last in a fantasy football league. And he was like, I would love to know how I would do on the ACT now. And someone said, I'll pay your registration fee if you actually do this. And he's like, I'm going to do it. For months, I was like, there's no way he's going to do this. He'll oversleep or he'll get there and be like, this is dumb, and he won't do it. He did it. Took the ACT. Showed up, had a calculator with his name on it from like third grade. Looked just like you're imagining. Basic calculator with his name on it. The proctor came over and was making sure that everyone had a calculator. He just goes, mine has my name on it, and showed it to him. Got stuck at his desk momentarily. Got locked out of the classroom for taking a smoke break in between sections. Took the ACT. Got a 14 on it. And was thrilled. Played happy music the rest of the day after he got his scores. It was a great moment for the show. But he had a calculator with his name on it.
I mean, didn't everybody at one point?
Yeah, at some point.
But yeah,
I was a 43-year-old man.
I don't think I'll be committing to the bid enough to take the ACT again.
What do you think you'd get on the ACT now compared to what you got in high school? Better or worse?
I mean, better than what the kids in high school are getting. Because I actually know the material.
I don't think you do better than the kids in high school now.
When I'm talking about your average student, probably getting around the 20 to 23 range.
Yeah?
I think I get like a 20. I think I get like a 22.
I think I probably would be in that ballpark now. I got a 26 in high school the only time I took it. I don't think I could do that well now. I was disappointed then. I'd be thrilled with anything in that. Like, when's the last time you did math as an adult? I haven't done math in 25 years. Like non-basic math.
Well, I had to take stats last year, so about a year ago.
You were in school last year?
Well, because I took a break for like a year and a half to 2 years.
Okay.
And then I had like 5 classes left, so I finished last year.
Gotcha. Texas, I know Mike collapsed to his knees in absolute disgust when he saw the OTE reclassified for 26. I did not fall to my knees. I'm fine with it. I hope he's a great teammate who helps us win a national title. Little Dumper says UK fans getting a little chesty about football. Nick Roush is guaranteeing a win against Bama in week 2. No, he's not. No, he's not. Is he?
Rowan told me that they were convincing themselves they could beat Bama.
Okay, I mean, that's standard UK fan behavior. He's guaranteeing. There's no way. Now, they are recruiting well. They are. I mean, there's no way around it. They're getting a bunch of 4-stars. Oh, I see Roush's tweet now. He said, it's time to say what needs to be said. All caps. Kentucky is beating Alabama in week 2. He's predicting it. It's on KSR. God, they're going to do this again, aren't they? Like, was the Matt Jones, it's not crazy for us to go to the playoff take that got spread all throughout last year? Was that not enough? Who are they trying to get old takes exposed every single year? What are they doing?
That's what KSR does.
I mean, he's got all these points about why it's going to happen.
They got to get a reason for you to buy KSR Plus somehow.
This is on KSR regular. I didn't know there was a KSR Plus. Alabama's breaking in a new quarterback. They struggle early season on the road. The art of the surprise. I mean, you know what? I'm going to fire a shot back at their bow. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't think Kentucky's beating Alabama in week 2. How about that?
Whoa.
Yeah. I like the Tide over to Kentucky in football. Hot take, maybe.
Is it at home?
It's in Lexington.
Oh, man. That's I don't know.
They could be playing inside Memorial Coliseum and only let Bama have 7 players. I would still pick Bama to win that
The one
game.
anomaly that is Kentucky football for me is the fact that for some reason Kirby Smart just did not understand how to coach against Mark Stoops.
Well, he won, but they would every year it was like 14-10.
The dude would go out there and beat the best teams in the country by 30 and then come into Lexington and then would just pee down his leg.
It was like he had this deal with Mark Stoops where he's like, yeah, we're going to run 4 plays.
We'll make you look just good enough.
We'll tell you every play we run so that you can hold us to 10 points, and we'll let you try and see if you can win. This is all in exchange for you not sharing that thing that you know about me that nobody else knows. It's the only thing that makes sense. It was very, very strange because it happened every year. You're right. Texter says, do you think that might be a good thing, the fact that we don't know who the leading scorer will be since we won't be easily pushed around, or one guy can't be shut down defensively like we were the previous 2 years? I don't know, man. I think that you do.
It depends on.
You need a star.
It depends on how well that we develop offense, or like how much we're leaning on. Like how well is Pat Kelsey going to be able to develop an offense with this team? Because last year we had multiple guys who could score. The issue was that we just didn't have anybody besides Mike Hill that could beat anybody off the dribble or, open up for somebody else. So the defense was easily just, we just push them on the three-point line and they can't score anymore. So, like, if our offense is different to where, like, we have options now in the post, or we have some guys that are athletic enough to catch you off the dribble, catch you off the bounce, and then some guys that can shoot at a high enough rate that you have to at least guard them, then, yes, I could see Pat Kelsey as a play caller being able to do something with his offense. But like you said before, if it's just a bunch of guys who are coming into this season doing exactly what they did last season, then it'd be cause for concern.
I'm trying to think of, like, the last few national champions. And I know that's a high bar to clear. But if we're going to talk about being good, that's the best example to use. Last year everybody thought that Yaxel would be Michigan's leading scorer. He was. The year before that, everyone thought Walter Clayton would be Florida's star and leading scorer, and he was. But if you look at those UConn teams, I think there was more. That's probably what you want to emulate a little bit more. They, You knew who their stars were going to be, but you didn't know who was going to step up and be that big-time playmaker. They were always going to be overly reliant on Sonogo in the post or Donovan Clingan the second year in the post, and then that was going to set up Caravan and Tristan Newton and those types of guys. But going into a season, you could probably take some good bets on who was going to lead those teams in scoring. Jordan Hawkins, the first year, we're probably the ideal scenario is to be a little bit more like that, where Flory Badunga is going to be a beast inside. He's going to have some help in that front court, and then it's going to be sort of a mixture of players averaging low double figures around him, and who's the star varies from game to game. That's what you have to hope. Carter Knox maybe could be in that mix. Alvaro Folgueras could be in that mix. You could have a game where Deshane Montgomery comes off the bench and goes nuts for 22, 25 points. I think that has to be the hope. But if that's the formula, you don't have to get spectacular 45-point Michael Brown efforts from those guys, but you have to get them being consistent. You can't have games where 3 or 4 of them all have terrible shooting nights and none of them score in double figures, because at that point you're screwed. So consistency is going to have to be the key for that group of Shellstad, Woolley, Montgomery, Knox, Folgueras, and whoever else is going to help us with scoring. Texter says, once the podcast ran on Thoughts Guy, your post did not go through. I'm not sure what's going on with Text Groove, but it's having a day.
I texted Glenn.
Just keep peppering Glenn with requests. But by the way, it's a little cool in here. Have you figured out how to knock it up a little
Do
bit?
we have any snacks around here?
What happened to the juice boxes that were in the fridge?
I wish we did have snacks here.
Could you bring them? We used to. I'm not saying it's because of you. We did used to have
You
snacks.
can't.
We had snacks here all the time.
You can't just start that off with, I can't say it's because of you.
It's not because of you. It's just it's.
Are you saying that my salary is cutting down on our snack usage?
I'm not saying
Our snack ability?
Maybe it's a coincidence.
Mike Rutherford wants me fired. That's what you're hearing on the show today.
We used to have chips in the chip room. Every now and then you could grab a Nutri-Grain bar.
The chip room.
The snack.
Was there a whole another room that existed back then?
They had like flashing lights, like Christmas lights hanging down there. It was great. We had like a whole vending machine that was just free.
This is like the opposite. Like when you leave your high school gets nicer. It's like, before we had you, it was cool in here.
It's very true, actually.
We used to take shots before the show.
Master P did used to come into this building on occasion before you got the job.
And you know what? Now we're hating on Lord of the Rings and talking video games.
We've really just geeked it up. Drake's guy says, did Mike find a new show to watch? Well, I finished Dark Wizard, which was very good. We watched The Housemaid over the weekend, the movie. Sydney Sweeney, I can't remember any of the other people's names from the movie.
I wonder why you can remember.
I was about to say Amanda Siegfried, I think, who was in Mean Girls back in the day. She's in it. Mary had read the book, so she wanted to watch the movie. Speaking of, I didn't realize that Sydney Sweeney had the sex scene in the movie multiple times. I'm watching the movie and I'm like, this is okay. It's kind of keeping my attention. I predicted the plot twist right away and told Mary, and I could tell by her reaction that I was right. And then I look up and Sydney Sweeney's naked, and I'm like, oh, they're having a sex. And I look over, Mary's asleep, and I was like, oh, this is. I was like, you seeing this? And she was just passed out. I was like, you're missing this. Wake up. They're doing stuff. The guy's attractive too. If you want to watch that, it caught me by surprise. I didn't know that was. I feel like I always knew growing up when the big movies that had sex scenes with superstars in them. But I guess she gets naked on that Euphoria show a lot. Apparently, I don't know this. I shouldn't be talking about things that I don't. I'm putting you in an awkward spot, and I'm sorry. But
she gets hella naked.
I've never seen Euphoria, but I've heard that that's a thing.
Have you seen The Crowded Room?
No, never. I don't even know what that is.
So it's on it's on Apple TV. It's a show with Tom Holland and you brought up Amanda Seyfried.
That's what she just in the movie. That's what I was just saying.
Yeah. So she is a woman trying to get her doctorate, and Tom Holland plays. It's based on a true story. I forgot what his name is. The first person to ever get acquitted from a trial for having multiple personality disorder.
Okay.
And Tom Holland is a murderer.
Ooh.
Who has multiple personality disorder, and she is the doctor who's trying to do her thesis on him and explain that there's these mental conditions that cause people to not do things that all these different things. It's based in the 70s. It's a really good show.
Okay, sounds good. It's a good cast. Tom Holland's a good actor.
Tom Holland plays 6 different characters.
Amanda Seyfried's fantastic, by the way.
She is really
She's
good.
great in everything. She's really good in this movie, which is not a great movie, but it has its pluses. Texture says, Boney Dumper says, I can't say enough about how happy I am that Matt is on the show as a permanent fixture. Would love to get him his own segment each week, something like motorboating with Matt, where he shares with us his latest favorite set of cannons.
Looks like
what has happened here?
Cindy Sweeney on the show?
I mean, perfect transition from that. What was when you were filling in one day, and I was like, we were talking about having a new sponsor, and I was like, we could get the Matt hot take of the day. I was like, give me a hot take right now. And I can't remember what it was, but it was very, very good.
Oh, I was said that I didn't really the AI stuff doesn't really worry me.
That's what it was.
You don't like AI.
You're all in on it, which is becoming more of I feel like a majority take at this point. So you were ahead of the curve. Text that I watched a lot of Isaac Ellis footage, and to me, it seems like his absolute ceiling is Ryan McMahon. I hate to say this, but I couldn't help but feel that he won't be able to play at this level. What do you all think? I agree.
Can we go back to the last text for 1 second? I just want to know where this, is this just a joke that they just made up, or is there some
motorboating with Matt?
Yeah, so
I've not heard you talk about boobs on the show.
Neither had I. So
this feels like it came out of left field. And right after a Sydney Sweeney sexting conversation where you stayed notably silent. So if anything, I feel like you should not be the one who's thrown into the situation.
I'm in a committed relationship. I can't talk about,
yes, you can.
boobs here or there.
You can, you can talk about stuff. I've never gotten that. My wife and I talk about other people all the time. She herself was like, her body's amazing. I was like,
do you guys do the thing where when you guys go out to dinner, if you catch anybody on a first date, you just don't talk? You just listen to them?
No, but I have. We went to dinner, I think it was Mesh a couple of years ago, and noticed a couple that was very clearly on their first date, and I couldn't stop looking.
No, you're locked in.
I couldn't stop watching. I was like, oh, this guy. I was like, she's not into it at all. And then she laughed. I was like, I may have misjudged this.
There's only two outcomes. It's either one, like you said, the dude is completely mansplaining everything to them, and you're like, oh, this isn't gonna last. Or it's the people who just fell in love so fast that they're just all over each other the whole time.
Okay.
My favorite thing is when you're at dinner and you see people and they're on a date, but they're sitting next to each other, not across from each other.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's
very awkward.
It's gross. I hate it.
I can't do that. I've never been able to do that. I don't think I've ever sat on the same.
We're in a one-on-one. I don't have elbow space.
If I'm at a dinner with a single person and I can't easily exit where we're sitting to go to the bathroom, something has gone horribly wrong. We're not sitting next to each other in a booth. That's not happening. Texas, Sean Moth did say that Davis was coming back next year, and it wasn't even close. There it is. Guaranteed. Sean Moth, once again. He's tripling down at this point. Texas, after continued consideration, I decided that I will join the Riddler to not rest until Josh Hurd is fired. Oh, God. He's a disgrace to the university and the city and an insult to ADs everywhere. If his only consideration is cost-cutting for players, maybe he needs to look in the mirror. He's making nearly $1 million. If he cut his personal salary in half, we'd have another solid bench player or football contributor, but he's a coward who received a completely ridiculous and warrantless extension despite hiring the worst coach in NCAA history. He's a joke and must be fired for us to get where we want to be as an athletics department. Jesus. I mean,
is he making? He's got to be. He had to have been making less than Mitch Barnhart, right?
I assume so. Yeah, for sure.
I was just saying,
he's making less than what they tried to give Mitch Barnhart for doing nothing.
I will say it could be worse. We could be paying Josh Hurd just to sit in his office and be the executive of residence or whatever.
Well, they're not doing that anymore. Andy Bashir scared him away.
Well, didn't they come out and say that he's still getting money? It's just from a private something. It's not now. He has no.
Crafts are just cutting him.
He has no title. He's just getting paid to do nothing now.
They're just being more honest about it. And people are like, oh, okay. Texas, howdy, Mike. To help clear things up, Dan Furman never actually said we're currently involved with players making NBA decisions. I listened to the Locked On podcast where this was supposedly said, and I never heard it. The statement came from a tweet by someone misinterpreting what was said. I texted in about this on Roman's show last week while you were at Churchill Downs and Pence was on. Roman and Dalton cleared it up that Furman was talking about how NBA decisions affect timelines with who they sign, but didn't say we are currently waiting on someone. Well, that's a huge difference. So, admittedly, I did not hear the full interview. I was going off of the tweet that was out there. And look,
I remember
happens
on Mondays with Dalton Pence when we had him on, and I forgot what the question Dalton asked was, but he did in the statement say something about he's like, there's guys that people are contacting that are in the draft process and this and that. He basically alluded to it, but I feel like a lot of this has just been kind of construed in both different directions. It's just a bunch of telephone being played.
It's weird that it got so misconstrued, too, because the quote that was out there on social media was so specific, where it said there are 2 or 3 guys that we're waiting on that are going to play here if they don't go to the NBA draft. Someone just must have completely misheard something, because that's completely different than what it sounds like Dan actually said. And that's, I guess that's disappointing. Although we kind of know now that, I think we know who they were waiting on. And it was Harris, and then things went sideways at the last second. I think we got strung along a little bit, and now he's going to be playing for Tennessee next year. But thank you for clearing that up, Texter. Texter, with that golf guy pass, they're still making money if the cost of the golf balls is less than the pass. They're not losing anything in these hypotheticals that he would have otherwise paid full price. It's just another BS hypothetical fantasy golf money, fantasy money argument to say they lost money. It's no different than, it's a long text. As always, it's cool if a business makes money off a subscription or pass that someone barely uses, but it's not fair when it's just because of the brain rot business mindset that they lost non-existent opportunity cost money. Agreed. Lazard guy said, I think 75% of courses list absolute, I can't say that word, under job requirements for their clubhouse position. 0% chance that the Brown camp asks PK to be there on draft night. I don't think he'll be there. I hope he is. I think it would be good for us, but I don't think so. Hey, Mark, I know you don't want to interact with Matt because he's sick, but can you please get him some tissues for the liberal tears he's crying because of OKC dominance and the Pacers losing their draft picks?
So are we saying that Oklahoma City, the Thunder, are particularly right-wing?
Yeah, and you're woke.
I'm woke. I'm a Pacers fan.
You hate actual good conservative value basketball.
Oh, man.
That's on you.
That stinks.
Ball knower, by the way, your text did not come through again. Several people, if you haven't had your text read, there's a solid chance that it's because they just came through blank today. I don't know what's going on with Text Groove. Glenn's on it, though. Text Mike, who did you feel less confident about right after their commitment, Ellis or Fabio Basili? Fabio. The fact that they...
Ellis has a business plan.
Ellis, I mean, we also, he's a little bit more of a known commodity. They made me voice this Fabio Basili, like they were doing the videos for the newcomers, and they asked, I think me and Nick Coffey, they would like trade off with us. They would have us voice these, like we were doing a real radio show and we're talking about the latest commits, and they were like, all right, like just say some cool stuff about Fabio Basili that we can put in the video, and I was like, I mean, like I don't know what to do. So I was having to go on air and be like, yeah, he's not helping us at all when it comes to these guards, and then. On the promo video, I'm like, you want guards? We got a guard. Fabio Basili. I'm like, he can pass it with both hands, dribbles with his eyes up, doesn't have to look at his shoes while he's tying them. Like, I mean, I don't know what I even said at this point, but like the video came out and I was like, this is very misleading about how I feel about this actual player. It was tough. I think I also had to do one for Hersey Miller when he came. I was like, you're not giving me anything to work with here. Texter says, could Roger not just take a demotion or become a GM? I mean, hopefully they can figure out something like that to make this as less awkward as possible. Texter says, Mike, what was the date of the Trevor ACT show? Got to run that back. Oh, God, I don't even know. It was during the summer, I feel like. I'm sure I could find it if I had more time. Texter, if Michael doesn't invite or have PK at draft night, then I don't want to hear about him again. PK took so many darts for him. They did the right thing when it came to handling the entire Michael Brown situation, and I hope that Michael remembers that as time goes on. I still don't think that he'll be there. Texas, unlimited car washes means unlimited car washes. They can't get mad at you if you wash your car before work every day. It's the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah, I mean, I would sue. If they really try to fight it, I would sue.
I think you'd have a case unless you signed something where the fine print said they had some sort of within reason. Who knows? But it would seem to be a pretty straightforward case. Texas, the Avs need a W tonight, Mike. It's your call. Are you going with Wedgie or Blackwood tonight? I'm going back to Wedgie. They made the right call pulling him after the 3-0 or 3-1 deficit, whichever it was, when he got yanked last game. And I know he's been up and down in the playoffs so far. This is his team. He's the man between the pipes until he's done. Now, if he gets lit up tonight, I think you can change things up a little bit. Make some predictions for the night ahead in sports. These are brought to you by Chad Hennessy from InsureMax, proudly serving the Louisville area for over 25 years. Call Chad Hennessy at InsureMax today, 502-479-4085. I will pick the hockey game first. It is the Avalanche Wild Game 4, 8 o'clock on ESPN in St. Paul. Avs are favored. Do they take the 3-1 lead? Matt Childress, what do you say?
They do. Avs win.
I think we win this one, too. Correctly predicted every game. I think I'll get this one right as well. Pistons, Cavs, Game 4, 8 o'clock on NBC. Cleveland's a 3.5-point home favorite. Do they even the series?
They do.
I'm taking the Pistons. I think they win this one, and they end up giving a game back in Detroit, and then they win 4-2. Then Thunder, Lakers, late night. Do the Thunder, your favorite team, destroy Roman's favorite team, the Lakers, and wrap up the series?
I don't think they do. I don't think it gets swept.
I think they win. I think the Lakers cover. Give me OKC by 7. All right, we got Dalton Penson here for the next 90 minutes talking more U of L sports, so keep it locked right here. I'm back tomorrow at 2:30. Until then, go Cards.
Go Cards.
The Mike Rutherford Show was brought to you by United Mechanical. John Burke's United Mechanical is your trusted partner for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical,